these players play against each other, at least in that capacity. But the NHL, I think, was proactive in noticing that their All-Star game had become a nothing event. The skills competition, no one took it seriously. The All-Star game, no one took it seriously. You had scores of like 18-16, that's not a hockey game. That's not anything like that. And I wonder if maybe they beat the NBA to the punch on this, because you and I, we were comparing notes before the show today just on like what did we watch in our first weekend without football for the first time since, August? There was no football on TV to watch anywhere. And I got to be honest, Pump, I found myself gravitating way more to what the Four Nations Face-Off was offering than what the NBA All-Star Game was offering, because that game, that not just the game, but also the three-point shootout, the slam dunk contest, I mean, it felt like nobody wanted to be there that was there. It felt like every star was kind of like, well, I'm over this. It felt like every person in the audience was like, really? Why did we shell out, $500 for these seats? It was such it was not entertaining at all, which is crazy to say because it is literally an all-star event. Like, it should be the most entertaining thing on the NBA calendar, and it wasn't even close to that.
Well, the NBA, they tried to mix it up a little bit, right? You had four teams. You got the TNT analysts, you got Chuck, you got Kenny Shack, you got Candace Parker as well. They all had their teams. Tried a new format. It's a single-game elimination. Games go to 40. And there were some mixed reviews. Here's Trae Young's thoughts on the new format.
I don't like it at all, to be honest with you. I don't know what the fans' reaction is yet and things like that, but I think there's, too many breaks, you know what I'm saying? It's too long of a breaks, and guys are over there, ready to play and stuff like that. I thought it was very competitive at the beginning, but then as the games kept going on, I think it was just too long of breaks, for sure.
So they tried. They tried to mix the game up. You hear Trae Young saying there's too many breaks in the game, and you what'd you say? What was the number you put out? How many commercials were actually being played?
It was a 3-hour broadcast from the start of the All-Star game to the end. There were only 42 minutes of actual basketball that was played. That was somebody on the NBA Reddit page that tabulated actual minutes of basketball compared to the minutes of commercial and just talking at the desk. It made no sense. Like, who's Mr. Beast? Why is there a half-court shot challenge where somebody's getting paid $100,000 in the All-Star game? Like, I don't need that in my All-Star game. It was just a brutal watch from start to finish, and it's crazy because you and I think, are the foremost NBA fans on this station. I don't think it's any question about that. And I didn't want anything to really do with watching All-Star Saturday.
No, not really.
There was no draw. There was nothing. And that, to me, I think is kind of like a come-to-Jesus moment right now for the NBA, where it's like, what do we want to be? What do we want to be as an All-Star game? What do we want to be in the midseason? I think Kevin Durant was one person who was like, just let us have the week off. Like, we go back-to-backs all the time. We're playing 82 nights a year. I don't want to go to another random city and play an 83rd game and have my entire weekend, taken up with activities and media obligations and whatnot. But I just kind of look at where these two leagues, where the NHL has long been lapped, I think, in popularity by baseball and the NBA, and obviously the NFL. I think the gap was a much more narrow, like in the 80s and 90s, but now you see the other three sports kind of pull away. But, I mean, I've been thoroughly entertained with everything that I've seen from the Four Nations Face-Off, and we're going to talk to Linda Cohn about it coming up at 1 o'clock. But I don't know, Bump, like, when you were watching that Canada-USA game on Saturday night, I mean,
I was hyped.
When have you felt an intensity like that? Exactly.
I was hyped.
The last time I could remember feeling like that heading into a sporting event maybe was like probably Japan USA in the World Baseball Classic, Ohtani against Trout. Like, it's been a long time since I felt that. And we just had the Summer Olympics too last year.
Yeah. Hey, here's the thing with the NBA. The basketball is such a controlled environment. Like, you can go out there to your 24-hour fitness, wherever you play hoops, and you can control the intensity. You know what I mean? Like, if there's a bunch of 35 and ups on that court, we know we're going to take it slow. The defense is going to be on point. No one's trying to win a championship.
A lot of mid-range.
Right, a lot of mid-range jumpers. You put some youngsters out there, they're going to be flying around. It's just you can fake playing basketball. In any other sports, it's hard to fake. And I think that's what we've been seeing. They're just going out there. But there is an idea, right? Giannis has this idea. I was thinking about it. There needs to be something like the Ryder Cup when U.S. takes on Europe. And Giannis talks about, maybe the NBA should adopt a USA versus the world format in the All-Star game.
I think that would be the most interesting and most exciting format. I would love that. And for sure, I'll take pride to that. I always compete, but I think that will give me a little bit more extra juice to compete, having Shea, Jokic, Luka, Wemby, Towns, Shagun, having all those players playing with you. And obviously, I'm missing some guys right now. I cannot think from the top of my head. Going against the best USA players, I think it'll be fun. I think that will be the best format.
I would like that, honestly. I think that Europe, this ain't 92. The same Barcelona with Michael Jordan playing against Carpenters.
Angola.
Right?
Yeah.
These European players, they're the best player in the game you could say is from Europe right now in the Joker, right?
Oh, yeah.
You got Luka, who's a top 5 guy. You got Giannis, who's a top 10-5 guy, however you put it. Europe got some ballers out there. I think that would be an interesting format, and I wonder if the NBA would consider that.
I would hope that there are plenty of options on the table, including that one. We saw the intensity of the Olympic basketball tournament, how close the games were. USA scrapping against France for the gold medal. Steph Curry hitting that big shot to clinch a gold medal for the United States. And, the stakes were a gold medal in international supremacy, which is probably going to draw out a little bit more effort than just simply an all-star game win. But I think you have to consider everything. I want to see it just get back to a game of basketball, not this 4-team mini tournament where it's playing to 21 essentially. It just had very little. It did not look like basketball should look, and that was a problem yesterday too. In watching that game, I kind of look at where the NBA is as a product too, and I think Draymond Green had some interesting criticisms about it, where you're talking about somebody who is still playing in the NBA, saying that today's style of basketball can be boring.
It's not smart basketball no more. I saw a clip not too long ago where Kobe said it's accidental basketball. He couldn't have been more right. It was so refreshing to play against Bron because every possession is like a chess match. But you don't just get that on a regular basis. It's just who can run faster, who can hit more threes. It's no substance. And so I think it's very boring.
Couple things about that clip. First off, Draymond, I think, is a throwback to the kinds of players that we saw play in the 90s and early 2000s, where very physical style of play, has a lot of post moves and works in the mid-range and gets very active defensively. The second, though, is his team the most at fault for how this style of NBA is being played? The Golden State Warriors, poster children for the three-point shot. No team ever did it to the amount that Golden State did it early on in their run. And now it's been adopted league-wide because obviously Golden State, with the success that they had for it, showed that you can absolutely win by hitting as many threes as possible. That's one thing that stood out to me about that clip from Draymond Green is yes, I hear you and I see what you're saying about where basketball is, but also your team is a little to blame for this.
Yeah, for sure. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, go Cougs. You guys definitely are to blame for this. I never saw someone pull up from the logo consistently until Steph Curry started doing it.
Right.
So, yeah, Draymond has a point, but you're absolutely right. They have contributed to the way that basketball is played. There's also something else that happened during this I didn't agree with. My Laker, LeBron James, did not play in the game, and he waited until the very last minute to notify the NBA that he wasn't playing. Here's the TNT pregame crew on that.
I think Bron could have helped somebody else out and said this.
Said it earlier so they can find someone else. So you can go in and play. So you can go play.
I ain't had that type of year, but somebody out there.
We have a jersey for you.
Great
Absolutely want to. Sabonis.
There's a lot of guys, but there's a lot of guys who are worthy of that like you said, who he close. He's close by.
He took a roster spot from somebody.
So now I'm going to give LeBron James an out before I go in on him. I'm going to say, who knows what happened? Maybe Bronny needed him at the house. Maybe wifey wanted to go somewhere. Yeah, maybe one of his other kids needed it. Yeah. Maybe something happened, okay? There's his out. But come on, Bron. 21 straight years you've been an all-star. You are the face of the NBA.
Yes.
You have to have some accountability and be responsible for this because like these guys has mentioned, you took away a roster spot from a guy. They mentioned Booker. You got Powell over there with the Clippers who I think deserve to be in this game as well. I think it was the first time LeBron has made a move that I felt like, oh, my bad, that I felt was unprofessional. You know, typically LeBron is calculated. He moves in the right way. You never hear anything bad about him as far as what he does off the court. But this one kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, man, let somebody else get an opportunity to shine.
Exactly. And I think him pulling the rug out from underneath the NBA last minute put them in a bind because he's still such a box office draw. And it made what could have been special, or not special, but just could have, seen the buy-in from him would have probably led to other guys buying in. That's been an issue, I think, at the All-Star game is that these guys think they're kind of too good for the All-Star game. Like, why bother trying hard in a moment that does not impact the regular season standings, that does not impact playoff positioning? And there's got to be a way to where you get some buy-in for that, which is interesting because on the NHL side of things, this does not have any sort of impact on the regular season. It has no impact on the postseason. It just is for, national supremacy among these four countries. I thought this quote from Team Canada head coach John Cooper following the game on Saturday night against Canada and USA. Now, this is the coach on the losing end of things, but he was also able to see the bigger picture of what just took place.
The game is in a better place because last night's game existed. The only thing that was disappointing that we weren't on the right end of it, but the characters, the personalities on both teams, I think really came to the forefront, and it's why we love this game. And I don't know now there's lots of great sports out there. I don't want to corner us and put us in a corner, but it's a pretty brilliant game of speed, grace, and toughness and swag and all those things combined in one, and it can bring 22,000 people to a frenzy, and it was phenomenal to be a part of.
And it was phenomenal to watch, and I think everybody who did tune in on Saturday night is probably going to make the same plans for Thursday night, whereas anybody who tuned into the All-Star game, the NBA All-Star game I should say, probably not going to, come away from that being like, all right, this thing is in a great spot. Not to say that the future of the NBA is at stake or anything like that. They just signed a massive TV deal where they're going to be fine. And don't get me wrong, like I want the Sonics back in Seattle. Like that's at the top of my sports priority list over the next couple of years. But just the juxtaposition of the two leagues, to me, Bump, it was staggering to see just how much the NHL was able to get out of what is considered their all-star break compared to the NBA.
No, it was awesome. It was so awesome I put out this tweet, okay? This was a couple of days ago. I said, I've been researching men's hockey leagues in the area after that win last night, talking about the U.S. win. I think I'll train for the wing. I got no flow, but I got them dangles, always ready for a gong show, and the celly is going to be on point after a clapper. I am a hockey enthusiast. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, Red Sox star Rafael Devers says he's not giving up his third base spot for the newly signed Alex Bregman. What is the real headline?
Real headline, would you like to not give up playing third base in Seattle? How about that? No, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, the Mariners do have, I think, they could put together a package that would entice the Red Sox, but Boston just signed Devers to a long extension. I think cooler heads are going to prevail. Bregman is a far better fielder than Devers is at third base. So, Rafael, my man, you got to be okay with playing DH or maybe moving to first base because I just don't think the Red Sox right now would be wise to go with a worse glove at a important spot on the infield rather than moving Bregman to second base, as I think a lot of people kind of talked about.
Hey, Devers, you don't make that decision.
Right.
The club makes a decision for you. I'm not giving him my spot. Listen, I understand you want to put that out there. Me, if I were him, I keep this in-house and have conversations. You don't have to put that out there. Maybe he was asked a question, so he responded to it. But there's a way that you do things. And when it's all said and done, the club is going to make the decision they think is best for them. So I understand you don't want to give up your spot, but it looks like a move might be coming.
I saw somebody, I forget who it was, on social media yesterday say that every Major League Baseball player comes up playing like pitcher or shortstop. And then at some point along the way, coaches are telling them, all right, you're no longer a pitcher. You're too good of a hitter. We need you at first base. We need you in the outfield. We need you at catcher, what have you. Same with like shortstops. You don't have the range for shortstop anymore. We're moving you to third base. Okay. Then why is there such a pushback from these guys, like the older they get, being like, okay, you're no longer a third baseman. You're now a first baseman. You're now a DH. Like, where along the line did it be like, no, I already moved off my position once. I'm not going again.
Pride and ego. That's what it comes down to.
Headline rewrites.
It's a rematch between USA and Canada in the Four Nations Face-Off Championship game. What's the real headline?
Real headline, I'm sure everyone will keep things totally normal.
Real normal.
Yeah.
Real cool.
How much do you think the audience who tuned in was influenced by the current geopolitical climate? Because I think that was somewhat of a draw for some for some viewers. I don't know if it was necessarily everything, but yeah, I definitely think, with how things are right now between Canada and USA, there might have been a couple of curious eyes.
Listen, I was literally in Canada. They're not rocking with us for real right now. They're not rocking with it, especially when it comes to hockey, man. That is their sport. And the fact that we smacked them 3-1 the other day, and we threw them hands as well. I think we won maybe 2 out of 3 of those things. That last fight with, I think it was Miller and the big boy that were in Canada, still no chance. But, yeah, man, this is I didn't expect the type of response that we're getting out of this tournament. 4.4 million viewers to watch the USA-Canada game. That beats the ratings for games 1 through 6 in last year's Stanley Cup Finals. This is something special, man. And I wonder if they will expand it over the next couple of years or not. But
8 nations.
8 nations, right? But so far, man, it's been great to watch. And for real, Canada's not rocking with us.
Right. I believe next year the NHL will allow their players again to compete in the Winter Olympics, which will be fun. I remember the 2010 Winter Olympics, USA, Canada, up in Vancouver for the gold medal. I remember watching that game that's like a core sports memory. It was that gold medal game. Maybe not a good one because Canada ended up getting a victory. Sidney Crosby with the overtime winner all the way back in 2010. I mean, he's been doing it just as long as LeBron has been doing it, really. I mean, he's been around forever and ever. But, I think Thursday night's championship game going to be, as they say, an absolute scene. Is that what they say?
That's what they say.
I'm excited for it.
I'm going to be in Vegas.
Ooh.
So I'm going to hold it down for y'all, all right? I'm going to be going crazy. I'm going to get me a USA sweater and all that stuff. Let's go get it.
Headline rewrites.
The Blue Jays and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. did not reach an agreement on a contract extension before Vlad's self-imposed deadline of today, which will make him a free agent after the season. What's the real headline?
Real headline, Blue Jays fans have been preparing for this moment after they also missed out on Shohei Ohtani and Roki Sasaki. That's just kind of been Toronto's thing over the last couple of years is, you know what? We'll make a big offer for this free agent, and they're going to decline and go elsewhere. I don't think Vlad goes back to Toronto, even though he is technically Canadian.
He is. He was born. His dad was playing for the Expos at the time? Yeah. How about that team?
They're the Nationals.
The Nationals now. Okay, there we go. But Vladdy Dottie, last year I was begging for, I think it was last offseason, I was begging, or during the season, begging for the Mariners to make a move and give Vladdy there. He has so much charisma and star power. Yeah. It's almost like, and Toronto's not a small city, right? I mean, obviously it's a big market, but it feels like he's almost being tucked away and wasted over there. You get him down here in the States and put him on one of these other teams, man. There's more money to be made, and I think that he becomes more of a household name. I think if you love baseball, obviously you know who he is, but there are some guys, when you hear their names, you just know who they are. You don't have to know baseball. Yeah. Shohei Ohtani, obviously, right? You got Aaron Judge. You got Harper or whatnot. I think he has that type of potential. It's fun to watch him play. I remember watching his dad play in always wondering why the heck he didn't wear any gloves, man. Because you play baseball. I mean, you swing the bat that many times, man. Your hands are gonna be jacked up.
His hands must have been just so calloused.
Yeah.
It would have been like a natural pair of batting gloves, I guess. But
eventually it probably was.
Yeah, I wonder though, like, will Vlad Jr. then become the most sought-after rental player at this year's trade deadline if the Blue Jays are out of it? Because I don't think there's much of a chance he goes back to Toronto. And if you're the Mariners, and as we know, they are usually in the hunt, whether it be a game or two out or a game or two up, like, what kind of move do you make to push yourself over? I mean, that's pretty presumptuous of me to assume the Mariners will be in it, but I mean, look at the rest of the AL West. Like, there's going to be opportunities, and I mean, Vlad Jr. last year we talked a little bit about him around the trade deadline as a potential acquisition. I think his chances of getting moved increase even more so because they weren't able to get an extension done. But I think that's definitely a name to watch this season as a guy who could potentially be traded before he hits free agency.
Don't you dare get Mariners fans excited like that.
Yeah,
Why would you do that to him? Why would you do that to him?
My mistake.
And we all know where the talent is when you look at the Mariners roster. It's that rotation. But who will be the opening day starter? We will tell you who it should be next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Is the Seahawks offense currently built like Clint Kubiak wants it to be, Dave?
You have seen instances of an offense or a player that just responds to coaching really well. Because the defense looks like it's fixed. You know, it started off rough, but the offense, you just hope that there is some kind of a message or some kind of a way that they run their offense that certain players that are key to making the offense good respond to positively.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app.
We at 3 Tree Roofing understand that your home is your castle. That's why our certified technicians use state-of-the-art installation methods to deliver the highest warranties available. Check out our hundreds of online reviews and schedule a free estimate to see for yourself. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Seattle, it's almost showtime at T-Mobile Park. Be here when the action gets started March 27th with Mariners opening day featuring a ceremonial first pitch from Hall of Famer Ichiro. The fun continues with Randy Arozarena Cross-Arm Hoodie Night March 28th and Hello Kitty Bucket Hat Night March 29th. Then don't miss the 3-day Julio Bat Flip Bobble Giveaway March 31st to April 2nd with tickets starting at just $10. So get ready, get set. Mariners baseball is finally on deck. Grab your tickets at mariners.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the...
Designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your...
Windshield wipers. eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Lowe's knows that your deadlines don't change, even when your job does. But with Lowe's Buy Online, Pick Up in Store, we'll help you adjust on the fly. And when you absolutely can't leave the project, we can deliver to your job site as soon as same day. Lowe's knows pros. We help, you save. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Hey, sell your car to Wayscar Ford, and when they resell it, they share half their profit with you. That's right. Sell your car to Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They'll pay you today for your car, and once they resell it, they'll share half their profit with you. Go to wayscarford.com for complete details.
Just Cause Legal knows the value of standing up for what's right. If you've been involved in a car crash, Just Cause Legal is here to fight for you with an aggressive team dedicated to securing the compensation you deserve. Just Cause Legal makes the process as painless as possible. Don't wait. Time is critical. Get the help needed today. Visit justcauselegal.com or call 253-859-8899 and meet your legal lifesavers. Just Cause Legal, fighting for you.
Hey, Bill! Got a leak? Need heat? Call Southwest today.
Southwest Plumbing, the one to call.
I've always said, the car sales in the 1980s and 1990s, earned the rep that we have today. The concerns that consumers have because of what has happened in our industry in the past, they're warranted. It's our job to show them that that's not how business is done anymore, right? It's very different business. It's much more transparent. There's much more information that's available to people, and we're much more customer focused than I think the car industry was, 20, 30 years ago. I'm more focused on providing good customer service and relationships because I think if you take care of people, money will always come. So I think just the philosophy and the focus for us has changed, where I was constantly chasing a paycheck, and now I'm just constantly trying to take care of customers and employees, because I know if I do that, then my paycheck will take care of itself.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Well, one of the best parts of being at spring training is seeing how physically impressive the professional athletes are up close. It's Mike Salk here, and coming off a long off season with something to prove, it's so clear these guys are in peak physical condition after months of hard work. Now, us regular folk may not have quite the same resources, time, or money to devote to our diet and exercise. But what if I told you you could be in the best shape of your life, just like some of these guys are, in only 45 days? That's all it takes after losing almost a pound a day with the help of Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. It worked for me. 10 pounds in the first week, 35 pounds after just 8 short weeks. I felt healthy. I was eating delicious, fresh meals, no pills, no injections, didn't even need to exercise. Find out if you can do it. A 15-minute call is all it takes. No obligation. Schedule it right now at eastsideweightlossklinik.com. You got nothing to lose other than all that extra weight. Go to eastsideweightlossklinik.com. Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
This is the Bumpin' Stacy show. I'm Michael Bumpus. We got Curtis Rogers filling in for Stacy. We got our nephew Brady Bones over there on the board. And it's time to talk baseball, man. Football season is over. It is a wrap. Now we're in this dead period, this weird period in sports where there's no football, there's no baseball. You got to look at hockey and basketball to fill that void that you're feeling right now.
Friday, Cactus League starts.
Cactus League starts
and we're
Friday.
off early. That's how I know.
There we go.
So
it's a good week.
We hold on to the hope of Friday. We're getting out of here a little bit early.
Hold on to Friday. Well, like I mentioned, that rotation, we all know what the strength is for this baseball team. It is the rotation. You talk to any expert across the country, that is what they're going to point to when describing the Seattle Mariners and what they do best. But who should be the opening day starter? For the past few years, it's been easy. We're like, Luis Castillo. It should be Luis, right?
Easy.
But I think times are changing, and our guy, Ryan Roland Smith, said who he thinks should be the starter.
You put me on the spot with that one.
I know.
Listen, it's got to be Logan. It has to be Logan Gilbert. If you 2024, I know Luis Castillo.
He's so flustered.
It's a tough one, and it's important. I'm telling you right now. I never forget. I don't want to bring this name up. I might not even say his name. They gave this guy the opening day start over Felix
Eric
Hernandez.
Bedard.
Thank you.
I'll say it. Eric Bedard.
And everyone's like, oh, who cares? You got two guys who are, I know he led the league in strikeouts a year prior. No, it was a big deal. No, this is Felix's team. Look what he did the year prior, etc. Logan, he deserves that opening day start. Yes, he has some tough competition. I get it. Luis Castillo and everything else. Logan has to get that start. That's my opinion.
So Ryan Roland Smith says Logan should get the start opening day. It's a big deal, right? You are setting the tone for your ball club. It's a great event. If you've been to opening day before in Seattle, it's awesome. I've been to the last 3 or 4, and they do a great job. But it means a lot. Curtis, if you were to pick, are you going with Logan or you going with someone else?
have been going back and forth on this, and on Friday's show, I think I said Luis Castillo after we got off the air with Ryan, but I can see the appeal of having Logan Gilbert be your opening day starter. He kind of represents like the future of the organization, at least from the pitching staff. He's the most tenured of the young guys on this team. Former first-round pick. He was your all-star last year. Definitely, I think, has a leadership role on that ball club. But Luis Castillo is Luis Castillo. And his resume is a little bit deeper than Logan Gilbert's. He's the veteran. He's the guy that I think you probably will have to pry the ball from his hands. And I don't think his drop-off last year was so dramatic to where you worry about him every single time he's out there on the mound. I think more often than not, I feel very confident when Luis Castillo takes the mound and gives the Mariners an opportunity to win. I think a lot of people kind of look back at his game 161 start in the 2023 season where the wheels fell off early, and then following it up last year where he was dealing with the injuries at the end of the season, kind of like, well, maybe this is sort of the start of the end of Luis Castillo's dominance, and maybe he, has to enter that next phase of his career as a starting pitcher where he definitely becomes more of a pitcher instead of a thrower. But I think for just one day, you continue to tell Luis Castillo, all right, like this is a shot of confidence that you might need here. Is like, yeah, you are our opening day guy. I think the Mariners are in a great spot regardless of who they pick. Like, this is a great problem to have. Of do you pick Logan Gilbert or do you pick Luis Castillo? Or maybe you go with George Kirby. Who knows what that other name would be. But, Bump, when you look at the tail of the tape between the two guys, Logan Gilbert, the young pitcher, the all-star, Luis Castillo, the older guy who's, entering his mid-30s as a pitcher, but has been a former all-star, has been just a very steady presence at the top of your rotation. Who are you going with?
I'm an old head, dog.
Yeah.
39 in this thing. You know what I mean? And I give respect to the older guys. I think that it feels like the Mariners are just in a weird place because Castillo's not going to get any better. Mm-hmm. And you're looking at your options in that rotation, and you feel like everyone else in this rotation can still get better, can still improve. But I think that it's important that you let your OG go out there and set the tone. Because like you mentioned, he has the more extensive resume. He's done this before. And when you just look at the simple metrics, right, simple stats when it comes to Luis Castillo, his numbers were not that far off from his career averages, right?
Still gave you 175 innings.
I'm saying it just didn't feel and look the same way that we're used to seeing when it comes to Luis Castillo. And I think that he's got enough money in the bank to where he could make some withdrawals and start the season and be the opening day starter. I will go with Luis Castillo. But I think that Logan Gilbert deserves it too. It's not no disrespect to the young man Logan Gilbert. If they were to go Logan Gilbert, I'd be just fine and say, okay, let's keep the party going. But I think that Castillo sets a tone, and I think he's got one more year, I think, of being that guy before these guys take over. Bones, who you got?
Yeah. Well, I see this an interesting way because the Mariners only hold two things on a pedestal, and that's their starting pitching and Julio Rodriguez. Two different things, and if you're going to hold your starting pitching on a high pedestal, you have to have a high standard. You have to have high expectations. Luis Castillo fell just a little short of those expectations last year. I'm not going to say you can't have a bounce-back year this year, but who had the great year last year? That was Logan Gilbert. That was George Kirby, even though he was slightly worse, but he still did great. I'd go with Logan Gilbert. He's hot right now. We need to see Walter. And I think that was what would get the people going.
Get the people going.
Yeah.
He's going with Walter.
It's a very fair point. I think and Logan Gilbert has very much endeared himself to the fan base out here for sure. Like, he has become one with Mariners fans simply based off of his demeanor. Just the absolute best dude. Has always been very gracious with the media and gracious with fans. So I could see why there would be a lot of people clamoring to see Logan Gilbert ascend to that throne, ascend to that role atop the Mariners rotation. And I mean, who knows? Maybe that's what happens this season is you see Logan Gilbert become that ace guy. I think he surpassed 200 innings a year ago. It is a good problem to have. This is a problem that great teams have, and good to great teams have, and especially one with the Mariners rotation where it's like you could make a case for almost all 5 guys in this rotation of being your opening day starter. But I don't envy Dan Wilson, but in any of his messaging, it kind of feels like they're still going to wait and see who gets the ball for opening day. And I mean, who knows? Who knows what the performance in spring could say about that? Obviously, spring is a bit of a liar in terms of what results we get out of these guys. What is it? J.P. Crawford has one of the worst spring numbers of any baseball player ever and has carved out a pretty nice career for himself at the big league level. So, what we see in Peoria may not tell the whole story as to what happens on opening day, but I'm with you, Bump. I'm still sticking with Luis Castillo as my opening day starter. I could be talked into Logan Gilbert.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
This gives me the same feel, kind of the same feel of the NFL MVP. Like, I'm like, yeah, Lamar should get it, but I understand if Josh Allen gets it. Right? That's how I feel. I feel like Castillo should be the starter, but I understand if they go Logan Gilbert. It's a win-win either way. You're still the best rotation in the game.
This is a great text from the 253, and you and Stacy and I, we talk about this a lot. The 253 says, boy, we have come a long ways from the Marco Gonzalez opening days. It's no shade to Marco.
No shame.
No shade at all, who has put together another solid career for himself. But yeah, I mean, Marco Gonzalez wouldn't even be in the starting 5 in this rotation at all.
Big ups to Marco. But when the first thing they say about you, when they say he's a competitor,
oh no,
you know you're probably not the most talented,
not the most physically gifted.
Yeah,
guy.
But big ups to Marco, man. Big ups to Marco. Hey, would a crazy wide receiver market drive down the return in a potential DK Metcalf trade? We'll let you know.
The Hot Stove Show, Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m.
Cal Raleigh, Gold Glove, won the Platinum Glove. Just an incredible season all the way around.
It's just getting started in a way. You still got things you want to improve on. Never want to be satisfied. Keep that edge to you. Sometimes you look for new swings or new things like that, but you also got to keep that edge to how you approach your off season. Just trying to do as much as you can each day to try to better yourself and get yourself prepared for 162.
Stay up to date on the Mariners off season. The Hot Stove Show, every Tuesday leading up to spring training.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request that complimentary design and estimate consultation today at 206-992-0364, 206-992-0364, or project ideas, explore photos at PCFgroup.com, PCFgroup.com.
I'm attorney Rob Iddens, proud Marine Corps veteran and owner of Warrior Injury Law. If you've been injured, you need a lawyer that is tough, confident, and battle-tested. Call us at 253-WARRIOR for your free case review. Warrior Injury Law, battle-tested.
At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, we are committed to giving you quality workmanship and white glove service that exceed your expectations. Get our exclusive leak armor installation backed by a lifetime warranty. Choose Lake Washington Windows and Doors, a name you can trust.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours. Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
If you're looking for a new Mazda, go see our friends at Mazda of Everett. With over 790 new Mazdas in stock at 11409 Highway 99 in Everett, they have something for every budget and credit type. Save up to $3,970 on new Mazda CX-5s. Come meet the team and see why they've been Washington's largest Mazda dealer since 2015. Exceptional service and always their lowest prices. Visit in-store or online at MazdaofEverett.com today. MSRP for stock number 26315 is $30,585.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. With thousands of full replacements with expert craftsmanship and unbeatable warranties, we've been building roofs you can trust for over 5 decades. It's more than just a job, it's our promise to you. Protect your investment with a free Golden Pledge warranty on all GAF roof replacements over $15,000. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page. Start the year fresh with Washington Energy's New Year, New Home Sales event. Upgrade and save 15% on energy-efficient Bryant heating systems for your home. Keep cozy and safe this winter storm season with 15% off Honeywell whole home generators. Prepare for spring with 15% off beautiful Anderson windows and reliable Simonton doors. All on sale now for a limited time. It's the New Year, New Home Sales event with Washington Energy Services, bringing good energy to your home.
2 explosive bands, 1 massive night of alternative rock. Lit, Fuel. The Ignited We Stand Tour hits Muckleshoot Event Center, Wednesday, February 19th. Get your tickets now at muckleshootcasino.com. Lit and Fuel. Light up the stage. February 19th, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
I was having trouble getting up and down my stairs at home. And I thought, well, this isn't going to work because how am I going to go to Utah and do some hiking?
When Judy came to Sound Pain Solutions, her knee pain was preventing her from enjoying an active lifestyle. She was diagnosed with osteoarthritis. She tried numerous treatments and was told she should have surgery. I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. We were able to get Judy back to hiking with our comprehensive, non-surgical, and drug-free treatment.
I think that the Trigenics that they do along with the adjustment, the pressure wave, and the PRP are the best options for joint pain. And I would really recommend it to anybody who is suffering from joint pain and would like to avoid surgery.
Schedule a free consultation to learn if you qualify for our safe, drug-free, non-surgical treatment by calling Sound Pain Solutions or visiting soundpainsolutions.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports at 97.3 FM HD2.
What to do with DK Metcalf? That is something that we've talked about a lot here on the Bumpin' Stacy show. Him and Gino, right? We're trying to figure out what's going on there. So our guy, friend of the show, Bill Barnwell, wrote this article, and he broke down the wide receiver market and what's going down. There's about 5 categories he broke down. There's 2 candidates to be traded, 4 players who could get released, 6 free agents hitting the market, and best of the rest when it comes to wideouts. How is this going to affect DK Metcalf? I'll give you a few names. The guys to be traded, Tyreek Hill, but he mentioned he wants to stay in Miami, so we'll see. Deebo Samuel just got permission to seek a trade. Then you have the cut candidates, Devontae Adams. Aaron Rodgers is not going back to the Jets, and I think that they got to cut the homie too.
Right.
I don't think they're going to hang on to him as well.
Devontae goes where Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly. That's his boy. You got Christian Kirk as well. You got Cooper Kupp, who's going to look for a new home. You got Tyler Lockett. We're assuming that he is going to be released. And then the top free agents. You got Keenan Allen, Hollywood Brown, Brandon Cooks, Amari Cooper. You got Stephon Diggs. You got Chris Godwin. And then the best of the rest, you got Adam Thielen, Mike Williams, DeAndre Hopkins. Curtis, these are some big names. So when I break all this down, I read you these names. How do you think this affects DK and his value?
Well, if you were trying to trade DK Metcalf, which I don't think there's any indication that the Seahawks are trying to move on from him yet. I mean, we have yet to see how these extension negotiations will play out. But looking at the amount of availability that there is in this wide receiver class, I mean, if you were looking for immediate help at wideout, like why would you want to give up significant draft capital for DK? I get that his age makes him a lot more appealing than some of these guys, especially somebody like Devontae Adams, who's going to be 32, Tyreek Hill, who's 31, even though those guys, I think, talent-wise, offer more than what DK has, at least in terms of like well-roundedness to their games. But there's a lot of available talent on the wide receiver market this season, and I kind of wonder, Bump, like, does that then drive down what teams are willing to give up, because they know that, hey, if we're so desperate for a wide receiver, we can go sign one of these guys that's available in free agency. Or maybe you go out and trade for Tyreek Hill, who I think is more impactful than DK has been to this point in their careers, and then all of a sudden you set yourself up for an even better shot at, contention, because you're acquiring a more talented player. So DK is kind of in this weird spot if you're the Seahawks, where it's like, okay, if you want to move on, and I know, Mike Salk of Brock and Salk has been banging that drum for quite a while now, just kind of floating that idea of like, well, if you do want to trade DK, like that would be a huge boost to potentially rounding out this roster more with more first-round talent. I don't think you're going to get a first-rounder back for DK really at any point in the offseason. So I look at this, Bump, and it's kind of working against any potential trade of DK Metcalf, where it's like, oh, you think the asking price is a first-round pick? Like, I don't think that's reasonable anymore, considering what is out there for teams to acquire.
Timing's everything, right?
Right.
And the reason why wideouts are getting paid the way they're getting paid, I blame Christian Kirk every single time. He started this madness, right? But because he started that, DK has an opportunity to make a whole bunch of money. Timing is everything. Just like we're looking at these names, timing is everything. I guarantee you that his agent is looking at the names that could be available and saying, dang, this hurts my client a bit, because you have receivers that maybe do some things better than DK, that have a better resume. But let me remind you, DK is no chump. I mean, he has...
Exactly.
People forget that he has like 4 1,000-yard seasons. He's had him and Randy Moss are the only ones to have X amount of catches, X amount of yards in the first 5 seasons of their career. DK is no chump. But again, timing is everything. They're going to look at Tyreek Hill a bit different than they look at DK. I think teams are going to look at Debo differently than they look at DK. And you got a guy like Cooper Kupp, who you can probably get for the cheap because of his past when it comes to injuries. Timing is everything, and I think that this will help the Seahawks, but it might hurt DK.
I think so. I think absolutely. So if you're looking at a potential extension for DK this offseason, Bump, is there any number that you look at and say anything north of that, I would be hesitant to give him? I think maybe anything north of 30 is where I start to be a little nervous about paying him.
Yeah. I mean, look, DK, get your money. Get your bag. If you give 30, 35 million, I will stand up and I will applaud you. I'm all for the players getting their money. If I am the owner of a team, I'm punching the numbers. I look at DK and I go, I'll give you like 27 to 30. Let's start there, because he does bring things to the table that other receivers don't. I just mentioned Tyreek Hill and Debo Samuel. I'm going to talk about Debo in 4-down territory. He's an interesting case. But DK has the most 20-plus yard receptions in his 15 games that he played. Now, there are receivers with more 20-yard receptions. I believe like 2 or 3. Mooney's one of them. I think Justin Jefferson is the other one. But they had 2 more games than him. DK is valuable. And whether you like what he can potentially get paid or not, it's all because of the timing. He's available at the right time, and there's someone that is going to look at DK and ponder giving him $30 million.
Yeah.
For sure. It is what it is. So I think with the Seahawks, it's just going to be a different situation. Who are you going to release? Because you got to save some money. We're assuming Tyler Lockett is going to be one of those guys. Is there a tight end that you're going to release as well? We'll see. Where are you going to save some money so that if you do sign DK to an extension, you give him his $30 million, it doesn't hit the same way it would if all these big names were still on the roster.
Right. And I think, who was it? I think it might have been Bill Barnwell, too, who we had on, and he was talking about Justin Jefferson getting his $35 million a year contract. And it was like, well, if you have a quarterback that is not making top of the market money, like how Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy are not in Minnesota, it makes sense to pay the best receivers in the game the most amount of money because you want to help those guys out. Whereas if your quarterback is making a lot more money, then, hamstringing your cap situation by loading up on wide receiver talent when you have a great quarterback, like, that's going to make things a little bit tougher. The thing is, though, that Geno Smith is not among the top earners at quarterback.
Right.
He is making well below market value right now on a very team-friendly deal. And even if he does make market value for a quarterback of his skill set, you're looking at, $40 million, which will put him about 12th or 13th. A $30 million deal for DK puts you at a combined $70 million between Geno and DK. That's only $10 million more than what Dak Prescott alone is making.
Right.
So you're looking at it from a business and sense standpoint. It would make a lot of sense to bring DK back simply because you can afford, paying Geno and DK, especially if you're able to make some more cap space for yourself.
And what does Kubiak want? Right?
Right.
New OC, I'm sure he's looking at DK
he wants, a guy like
and
DK.
saying, I could use a 6'3", 225, 4'3" type of dude. So we shall see, man. But the wide receiver market is crazy. There's talent coming out of college, entering the draft this year. It's going to get interesting. So we'll see what they do with DK Metcalf. We heard from John Schneider on Friday. We got some cuts. We're going to break down what he said. That's next here on the Bump and Stacy Show.
Seattle Sports is heading to Arizona for spring training baseball.
Knowing every night when you go out there that you're going to get a great pitching outing is tremendous.
Go behind the scenes with Brock and Salk as the Seattle Mariners get ready for the 2025 season. All next week from 6 to 10.
Back she goes, going and going. Goodbye, baseball. He did it. Julio Rodriguez.
And hear every pitch of spring training baseball on Seattle Sports. Streaming on the Seattle Sports app.
Holy smokes.
Stirring fiber, exercising, frequent trips to the store for more laxatives and fiber. Sounds like your constipation with belly pain is a lot to manage. But if your symptoms that keep coming back are signs of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C, ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Paid for by government. Now is the time to fill your vault with Morgan Silver Bars. Grab your piece of America's silver legacy with this special offer. These spectacular shining silver bars featuring a crisp image of the iconic Morgan Silver Dollar, a legendary coin that has captivated collectors for generations. Call now to secure 1-ounce silver bars minted in 99.9% pure silver and made in the USA. Don't miss out on this special deal. Regularly priced at $49.95, but for a limited time, only $39.95. Save $10 per silver bar. Limit of 25 bars per customer. The more you buy, the more you save. Up to $250 in savings and free shipping on every order. Plus, with qualifying orders, you'll receive a free Morgan Silver Dollar. That's a $59.95 value free. Call 1-800-937-4707 now to secure your 1-ounce Morgan Morgan Silver Bars for only $39.95. That's 1-800-937-4707.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Calling all pickleballers, Champions of Change and Safeway announced a multi-city pickleball tournament, including celebrity games with Seahawks legends Doug Baldwin, Mike Bennett, Cliff Averill, and more. In collaboration, Nourishing Champions campaign will be raising awareness and accepting donations to provide nutritious foods for student athletes in under-resourced high schools. You can help by donating at your local Safeway checkout. Open to all. The tournaments are in Seattle, Lacey, and Spokane. Register today at championsofchangefoundation.org/pickleball.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with my buddy Dave Taylor from First Mark Insurance. So glad, so thankful that Molly and I made the call. Had heard so many First Mark Challenge victories, we needed to take that challenge. What does happen from your perspective when that caller, when that email, when that person reaches out to you for a First Mark Challenge victory?
That's a great question. So there's several steps we go through in the process. The first step is we're going to gather information, find out all we can about that client and what their needs are. The next step is we will go out to the market. We have dozens and dozens of carriers that will compete for the business. At the end of that process, we will then bring those findings back to the customer, show them what we found, and who the eventual winner was in that competition.
And it may be who they're with.
It might be, yes. And sometimes that's the best we can do is recommend they stay where they are, but maybe modify a few coverages to put them in a better position.
So go take that challenge today. Go be the next First Mark Challenge victory. It costs you nothing, and they will be there with you every step of the way. FirstMarkInsurance.com. FirstMarkInsurance.com.
Hey, do you like spending extra money? Who doesn't, right? No, nobody does, and especially when it's on something like your utility bills, right? If those are noticeably higher in the winter or your home feels drafty, it could be because your attic and crawl space aren't properly insulated. It's Mike Salk here, and utility companies have special incentives to help with the cost of having your home properly insulated, including a once-in-a-lifetime rebate from Puget Sound Energy. So if you're a PSC customer and your home was built before 1990, you may qualify to receive a rebate on up to 95% of the cost to properly insulate your crawl space and attic. Yeah, they'll cover up to 95% of the cost. So don't wait. Take advantage of an incredible rebate today. Call Crawl Pros and learn what's going on behind that crawl space and attic hatch for free, and also what energy rebates you're eligible for. These guys are great. Did an awesome job at my house. So if you're worried about critters, mold, water damage, insulation issues, or anything else related to your crawl space or attic, schedule a free corner-to-corner inspection at crawlpros.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
NBA All-Star Weekend ended with Matt McClung winning his third straight slam dunk contest and Tyler Hero grabbing his first three-point title. Sweden beat the U.S. last night in the Four Nations tournament, but it meant nothing. Canada, we will see you on Thursday. And former Mariners great Justin Turner is set to sign with the Cubs on a one-year deal.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross. Here we go now.
Curtis Rogers is filling in for Stacy. I'm Michael Bumpus, and we got Brady Bones on the board, man. We got our first sound from the John Schneider show. Is this a show or is it?
It's a show.
It was a show,
it's
right?
It's a full-fledged. It's a show within a show.
It's back.
A show within Wyman and Bob.
It's back.
It's back.
Let's get it. And it's always nice to hear from the GM. It's nice to hear from the GM, the head coach, whoever, because they give you some type of insight to their mind and what they're thinking and how they're building this team in the offseason or whatnot. But it all starts with hiring an offensive coordinator. We know Ryan Grubb is down in Bama with his boy Kalen, and they signed Kubiak. So Schneider talked about how McDonald wanted a drawn-out process. They did not want to rush this.
It was deliberate, I mean, Mike did a great job of really thinking through his process. It's a very important hire. Last year Mike was the second to last hire. So, quite honestly, the pool's just different at that time, right? So you don't have the same number of coaches that are available. And so to be able to walk into this process at the time we did at the end of the season and like knowing exactly what he was looking for, but then talking to the different people and trying to envision, what his work day is going to look like, what the philosophy is, and who they want to hire on their staff, all that kind of stuff. So it's a process, and I was just really impressed with his ability to like know exactly what he wanted.
After you go through a year like they had, where you didn't run the football the way that you wanted to, you didn't protect the quarterback the way that you wanted to, I think it was important that Mike McDonald took his time with this and said, I'm going to find the perfect guy. Not the hot name that the fans want or that's going to make a splash. I'm going to get a guy who has a commitment to the run game and that I trust. So I appreciated him taking his time, even though as radio folks, we would have loved for him to make a huge signing and make it happen quicker, but I like this approach.
I do too. And Mike McDonald doesn't seem like a kind of guy that makes very spur-of-the-moment decisions. He seems like a guy that thinks things through, looks at all angles. I mean, heck, even when they made the decision mid-season to move on from Tyrell Dodson and Jerome Baker, it felt like it wasn't something. I don't think there was any one moment that led to those decisions. I think it was just kind of like a weeks-long process where it's like, yeah, this is not working out. Like, we need to move on from these two guys, bring in Ernest Jones and give Tyrese Knight, the opportunity to show what he can do as a rookie. And both those guys played some really good ball at the end of the season, very impactful in terms of what the Seahawks wanted to do. So, yeah, Mike McDonald in charge of this hire, and I'm not surprised at all that it took them as long as it did in hindsight, because that's just not the kind of person McDonald is. I don't think he's going to be, the first person turning in his test, as it were. Did you ever get anxiety in school when you're the first person to turn in your test?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I could not.
There's no way. I know I'm not the smartest in this class.
How did I breeze through this when everybody else is still grinding away?
Yeah, no, I would get done, look around, and if people still working, I'm chilling.
Yeah, I'm not,
just chill for a minute.
No,
I'm good. A question that we see a lot on the text lines too is just, what's John's role in this whole thing when it comes to the offensive coordinator search? He answers that.
The parts that I'm involved with are pretty fun, right? Because so when the film comes on and they start talking situational football, I feel like they're speaking French.
Another language.
I'm kind of like, okay, this is the time where I exit stage left.
Okay.
There's several different parts to it, but really just watching. My role is just kind of like watching everybody interact and just seeing how things flow, and then just giving Mike those questions that everybody on our hiring group last year did with me through the process when we hired Mike. It's like, okay, well, we noticed this, we noticed that. How do you feel about this category, that category? Could you envision yourself working with us? All those questions you just kind of keep just there to bounce ideas off of, and be as much of a support as possible.
I like that. I like that he understands. And let's not get it twisted. Like, John Schneider knows football, but obviously he's not going to know it to the extent that an offensive coordinator knows it, or Mike McDonald. This is what they do. John's job is to hire the right people for football. He knows the game. And this answers a question for me, Curtis, because I was always interested. I go, how involved is he? Is he Jerry Jones? I know he's not Jerry Jones. They're the extremes, right? There's Jerry Jones and there's everybody else. And I like that he sat back and let his head coach do the coaching and find his guy. And I'm sure John Schneider peppered him with a couple questions to see where his mind is when it comes to certain things. But I think that's how you should do it. Let your head coach find a guy that he thinks he can trust.
Yeah, and I think there was going to be questions, too, after Pete Carroll left, like what the dynamic was going to be between Schneider and McDonald, like who would have final say on this. And I'm sure the hires that McDonald made, John Schneider did have to give his stamp of approval on. But I think Schneider was going to go with whoever it was that McDonald had suggested, unless there was, some glaring red flag that John Schneider saw and was like, I don't think the wing tee offense is going to work, guys.
Big as Tumwater.
Yeah, I don't think this is something that's going to work in the NFL. No, I think this search was definitely Mike McDonald's pet project. I think he wants to find somebody where, because he's not an offensive guy, and I think he wants to find somebody where he can just kind of set it and forget it. And that just wasn't the case this season with Ryan Grubb, whether it be his inexperience at the pro level or just maybe just couldn't get comfortable with the pieces that they had on their offense. I know, like you said, the offensive line and the run game just never got going this season. So I think all in all, a good hire was made at the offensive coordinator spot. And, you know, an offensive coordinator, and same with the defense coordinator, really the only way you can tell if it's a success is if, you know, the pieces are in place. Like, you can't really be your best coordinating self if there's a lack of talent in any position group. And so they got to round that out in the offensive line.
Speaking of talent costs money, man. Nothing in this world, in this life, is free. And the Hawks don't have the greatest cap situation. Schneider speaks on that.
You know, we have a big screen, category by position, whatever his contracts look like. It's basically a huge puzzle, right? Whatever you're going to do at what position is going to affect another position on the team. So you're and we want to be a team that's going to be able to acquire people all throughout the year, you know, until the trade deadline. We don't want to be, we want to be like backed up against the wall.
Right.
You know, we want to keep our powder dry, like Ted Thompson used to say. But we want to be able to, you know, have enough room and enough cash to be able to do, you know, the things we want to do, to be able to address whatever's going on, you know, what we perceive as a deficiency, you know, as we get closer to the trade deadline. So you're constantly moving these. You know, it sounds cold. I understand that, but you're constantly moving these pieces around, trying to figure out what you can do to a certain contract, or is this guy a trade candidate, or is he is he going to be a cap casualty, or, you know, and it's you know, unfortunately, we've talked about this every year. You have to make tough decisions to keep moving forward.
And that's where he comes in, right? And the numbers guy. What's the guy's name who punches the numbers for the Hawks?
Well, it used to be Matt Thomas. It is now somebody from the Saints organization. I forget his name. Salary cap guy. Joey Lane. That's who.
Joey Lane.
Salary cap analyst.
Joey's time to shine, baby. And I'm listening to Schneider, and it takes me back to like the Excel sheets where you kind of put your expenses in and stuff, and you're in the red, you're in the green. And he said it does sound cold because at this point of the season, players are just names on a spreadsheet at this point. They're human beings. You got DK and Geno and all of that, but you're moving guys around and trying to get under a certain number. And I think that we look at the Eagles and how they've done things, and you admire that. The Chiefs, even though they got blown out in the Super Bowl, they've been relevant for so long. And the way they've configured their teams are different, right? With the Chiefs, it starts with the quarterback, and you sprinkle in some talent around them. With the Eagles, it's just offensive line, defensive line, okay quarterback. But you accumulate talent. Mm-hmm. When you look at this team as it stands right now, Curtis, is there enough talent if you add an O-lineman or two, for these guys to be legit contenders for an NFC title?
I think there's definitely enough in place if you figure out that offensive line to win the division. I think the NFC West is not as clear-cut in favor of the 49ers and Rams as much as it has been for the better part of the last close to a decade now, or at least half decade at least. So I think if you were to figure out that offensive line, you could assure yourself of a home playoff game. Do I think that they are close to the Eagles, who are the class of the NFC right now, if they figure out that offensive line? No. And I think it all stems from Philadelphia just having so much talent everywhere on that roster. I think the Eagles' run game is better. I think Jalen Hurts is a more dynamic quarterback than Geno Smith is right now, simply because he can do it with his legs, and, you know, he's a pretty good thrower. Their wide receivers, I would say, are a little bit better than what the Seahawks have. I think A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are very dynamic. And the offensive line and defensive lines that Philly has are just maybe the two best in football, which is a absurd thing to say about one team. You know, secondary-wise, Quinyon Mitchell, a very talented rookie. You've got Cooper DeJean in your secondary as well, another rookie. Darius Slay's back there, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They've got depth. So just kind of everywhere you look on Philly's roster, they are so deep. Yeah, they have you beat just about everywhere. And so then it's kind of like, well, you're kind of playing for second place at that point, which stinks because it is a weird portion, or it's a weird time in the NFL where in the AFC, everybody's kind of playing for second place with the Chiefs. In the NFC, everybody's kind of playing for second place with the Eagles.
Right.
Like, where are you able to knock them off at? I think the Lions have a good shot of knocking off the Eagles. If you're not Philadelphia, you've got to be able to kind of match them. I think Detroit is the closest roster in the NFC to fit what Philadelphia has. So maybe looking at what Detroit does with their phenomenal run game, with their defensive line when Aiden Hutchinson's in the lineup. So it's not to say that their formula you can't replicate it, but it's really tough, and there's only one or two examples in the NFL.
You got to start somewhere, right? And I think last year, I think you would agree with me that this defense made a hard turn when they signed that man Ernest Jones, and Tyrese Knight got to start at linebacker. He has not been signed yet to the Seattle Seahawks, but Ernest made it sound like he wants to be in Seattle, and Schneider does as well.
It's like, asking an offensive coordinator what their first 15 of the script is, So, yeah, there's definitely a priority.
Okay.
And, you work that out through, the early stages of free agency. Obviously, we want Ernest back. We've talked to his guys. We've had great communication with them, and we're hoping we're able to accomplish that. Some guys, at some point, you can get too close to the end of the season where they want to see what free agency looks like. So now they can go out and see what their market is, and understandably so.
Yeah, you got to, that's just part of the business. We talked about how players are moved around on a spreadsheet to kind of fit the budget. That's part of the business. As a football player, as a free agent, you have to go out there and see what you're worth, what other teams think about you. Even if you do want to stay in a place like Seattle, which it sounds like Ernest Jones wants to be, you got to go out there and see what you're worth. So then you come back to John Schneider and the gang. You say, look, this is what I'm asking because this is what I've been offered. How important is it that they get Ernest back?
Very. I don't know if there's any one signing that would do more for them in terms of upcoming free agents, because you gave up not a lot, but you gave up draft capital to go get him. And as we know, it pains John Schneider a lot to give up draft picks for anybody. And then also you saw what he brought to your defense. It was immediate returns on that investment. And not only that, but Ernest Jones is still young by NFL standards. I think he will turn 25 this upcoming season, where you've got guys now with NIL and the transfer portal entering the league at 24, 25. So he has got years already under his belt. He was a Super Bowl champ, and now it was a leader on that defensive side of the ball last year. And I just love his demeanor. I love the way that you can tell that he loves playing football. Like, that's a guy who lives and breathes playing the game. And you need all kinds of guys like that on your roster. And I think it's vitally important that they bring him back because, as we learned last year, you can't really piecemeal together the linebacking group. You can't really do that because it's going to come back to bite you.
So crazy how quickly it changed. I was excited about Baker and Dotson, and they just weren't able to get it done. All right, so now, obviously, Schneider, he's a football guy. He watched the Super Bowl, and you're not going to be surprised on what stood out to him.
Obviously, fast defense, playing sound defense, running the football, shooting explosives when you can, protecting the ball, playing great defense. That wins championships. Philly did a great job. Their defensive line depth is really impressive, and Coach Fangio does a great job with those guys too. So, it was just, you could just see Patrick. It was rough, like just right from the get-go.
Yeah, I think everyone saw that first two drives. You're like, this is going to be a long day for Pat Mahomes. And Jalen Hurts said a defense wins championships. You got to be able to run the football. Hurts had 73 yards on the ground, the most for a quarterback in the Super Bowl. Saquon was effective, but the numbers are going to show you that 25 carries for about 50 yards. But they were stubborn with the run and made the Chiefs have to respect that. It's and I'm sure Mike McDonald's looking at the Philadelphia Eagles. Everyone is looking at the Philadelphia Eagles and saying, that's the type of team I need. That was the most balanced performance I've seen in a Super Bowl in a long time.
Absolutely. I think they are the envy of every old school football coach and every old school football executive and old school football viewer. It's like, oh my gosh, you can win with just this approach of building out your entire roster, not just your quarterback. And the Eagles showed that, yeah, you can have a great defense and have a great run game, and it can get you a ring. And I would be interested to see just kind of like how that building up your defense, and then also building up the run game too, is going to happen league wide now, because you saw Baltimore with Derrick Henry, and I get that Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley are elite of the elite. Derrick Henry, future Hall of Famer, Saquon Barkley on his way. So I'll be interested to see what the impact of that is, as well as how the Eagles have built out their roster.
Agree with you 100%. Let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
All right, Bump, who will have something to prove next NFL season and why?
You got to look at Jared Goff. And the reason why is because his offensive coordinator is no longer with him. He is the head coach of the Chicago Bears. His new OC, John Morton, was a senior offensive assistant in 2022. He worked with the QBs and spent some time with Sean Payton. We've talked about how Brock Purdy's in the perfect situation for who he is and his ability. Why? Because Shanahan knows how to call plays that fit him. Jared Goff in the same situation. We look at Jalen Hurts. Why do we admire Jalen Hurts? Because he's not asked to do a lot. Look, hand the football off, take your shots when you can. Kellen Moore did a great job calling plays for him. We'll see how Jalen Hurts looks with the new offensive coordinator. But I say Jared Goff because it felt like he was revitalized when he went to the Detroit Lions. And the reason why was because he was in an offense that worked for him. He was under center. You used play action. You had 2 good running backs. You have a good tight end. Most of those pieces are still going to be there, but what's that relationship going to be like? Why did Sam Darnold have the year that he had? Because he had a good relationship with that offensive coordinator and Kevin O'Connell. So I think Jared Goff is going to be fine, but when you have these moving pieces and you don't have the same voice in your ear before the ball is snapped, things could change a bit. So I'm going to look at Jared Goff and see if he can duplicate what he's done the last couple seasons.
Second down. Bump, who are 2 names that you have seen associated with the Seahawks as they look to build up that offensive line?
I'm not even going to lie. I didn't even know who these guys were. I'm not going to lie. I had to look them up, but I like that we're talking about offensive linemen, though. You got Drew Delman, who is ranked 4th when it comes to centers across the league. You have Trevor Jenkins, who was ranked 18th when it comes to guards. So I like, even if this doesn't come true, even if these names are on different teams next year, I just like that we're talking about offensive linemen and addressing it. We all know that this offensive line struggled a bit. We know that John Schneider's looking at the O-line. We know that Kubiak likes to run that wide zone, and you need some mobile center guards and tackles. So the fact that we're talking about 2 offensive linemen already, I'm here for it. But the Hawks are 13 million over the cap. They got to make some move. We heard John Schneider talk about how he's moving names to different places, trying to find some space. If you do want to go out and sign 2 offensive linemen, someone's not going to be here. We have an idea who it could be. I just like the offensive line talk. Keep it coming. I'm going to look for more names, and we need the big boys.
Third down. Bob, who is a name on the market you are most interested in seeing find a new home?
Deebo Samuel. I want to see where he ends up. The 49ers are looking at Pearsall. They're looking at Juwan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk, and they're telling themselves, we are good to go. We don't need a Deebo Samuel for this offense to function. The thing about Deebo is he's not a receiver. He's an athlete. He can play receiver. He can play running back. He can probably play tight end if you really wanted him to. But what offense is going to take a guy who has been banged up the last couple of years, doesn't have many 1,000-yard receiving seasons, a dynamic type of player. He's positionless, right? He's just a ball carrier. And I think if he is in the right offense and he's not asked to play every single down and carry the rock, there's still some good football left in him. I just hope you go leave the division, leave the conference, go to the AFC. But I want to see what offensive coordinator grabs him, because if you are creative enough, Deebo Samuel's going to make some big plays. We know he's not going to be healthy for the majority. He's not going to be healthy for the full season. He's going to miss 1, 2, maybe 3 games a year. But there's still some good football left in him. We talked about all the receivers earlier that are going to affect DK Metcalf and how much he gets paid and how he's viewed. Deebo Samuel's one of those guys because he's so dynamic. I love watching him play when he's not playing against the Seahawks. Just want to see where he lands.
Fourth down. How has Mike Macdonald shown an even bigger commitment to the run game?
I love this, man. He's going hard. They added Rick Dennison as their run game coordinator. All right, they also confirmed that Justin Otten will be joining Mike McDonald's staff as their run game specialist and assistant offensive line. Look, they got a run game coordinator. They got a run game specialist. They're saying, we're going to run that dang ball, but we're going to do it efficiently. I just like it. We know that Kubiak likes to run the football. We've talked about it over the past few weeks, exactly how he's going to run the football. But they're addressing it. And they're going right at it. And I can appreciate this approach, man, because if you are able to run that rock after watching Philly do their thing, after watching Baltimore do their thing, you're going to give Geno the most opportunity to be successful. So go ahead and get an assistant run coordinator if you want to. Keep adding to that run game. Assistant to the assistant to the assistant.
The regional branch manager.
Go get it. I'm all for it, man. I think I'm sad football season is over, but I'm excited from what I'm hearing from John Schneider and the moves that they're making when it comes to their staff.
Just don't take a running back in the first round.
Don't do it. Will there be a running back taken in the first round?
Ashton Genty, for sure.
Genty, for sure. After that, I think it falls off. I mean, there's Amari Hampton over there, I think what North Carolina is his name.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know who we had on the other day, but they said they could see 30 running backs drafted in this draft, the most since 2016.
Wow.
That'd be nuts.
Like one a team. I would be stunned though if the Seahawks come away from the draft without a running back. It seems like a staple of like John Schneider's draft strategy is like I will not leave without a running back, whether it be in the 6th round or whatever.
Running backs are like the linebackers of the offense because they play special teams.
Yeah.
Like there's not many offensive guys who play special teams unless they are returning it, right? Receivers try to get out there, do their thing. Big up Derek Young, who had himself a good year on special teams. But I'm with you. It seems like they take a running back every single year. All right, when we come back, man, we will hit the timeline. We got the NCAA tournament, thinking about expanding, and also jersey was hung upside down. Somebody needs a talking to. That is next on the Bump and Stacy Show.
The Hot Stove Show, Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m.
Cal Raleigh, Gold Glove, won the Platinum Glove. Just an incredible season all the way around.
It's just getting started in a way. You still got things you want to improve on. Never want to be satisfied. Keep that edge to you. Sometimes you look for new swings or new things like that, but you also got to keep that edge to how you approach your off season. Just trying to do as much as you can each day to try to better yourself and get yourself prepared for 162.
Stay up to date on the Mariners off season. The Hot Stove Show, every Tuesday leading up to spring training.
Exciting personal news. I happen to be driving a brand new Bronco Sport from Wayscar Ford. The bad news is I spent way longer than I anticipated at the dealership because I truly couldn't decide. It's not my fault. They have so many options at amazing prices. Mark, what gives?
Well, we have a lot of inventory right now, Stacy, and they're priced to sell. Compare our prices to our competitors. Make sure that you check out what rebates that the dealers are putting on their pricing because you probably won't qualify for a lot of them. The rebates we have online on our prices are ones that everybody qualifies for. We don't play games, there's no gimmicks, and there's absolutely no pressure, and it's all backed up by a 5-day or a 500-mile, 100% money-back guarantee. And our new cars come with a lifetime powertrain coverage. Buy with confidence. We'd love to see you.
So wayscarford.com. Again, those prices are for real, like Mark said. And I'm really glad I did it. It was worth the trip to go out there. Your staff was so incredibly nice, knowledgeable, and accommodating. That's Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Wayscarford.com.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. For over 55 years, you've trusted us for roofing, siding, windows, decking, and gutters. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors.
Well, this is pretty fun for me. Normally, Shannon O'Kelly and I are talking physical therapy, but today we are talking First Mark Insurance. You made the call to First Mark. You took the challenge. Why?
Brock, I was looking for a local agency that I could align with similar values, and they've helped us here at IRG. They shop different plans. They find the best plan for you, the best price, the best coverage, great customer service, and great connectivity.
Did they save you any money along the way?
Absolutely, they saved us money. Obviously, here at IRG, I have several needs in the insurance industry, and they look at those needs A to Z, and they find out what kind of coverage you need, what is the best coverage, at what cost, and they're always looking to save money. And again, it's all about providing my company, IRG, great customer service.
Well, Shannon and IRG, they took the challenge. Molly and I, we took the challenge. Are you confident that your business is getting the very best when it comes to your insurance needs? If not, take the First Mark Challenge today, and it's totally free. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com, your teammate that goes to work for you. Firstmarkinsurance.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Calling all pickleballers, Champions of Change and Safeway announced a multi-city pickleball tournament, including celebrity games with Seahawks legends Doug Baldwin, Mike Bennett, Cliff Averill, and more. In collaboration, Nourishing Champions campaign will be raising awareness and accepting donations to provide nutritious foods for student athletes in under-resourced high schools. You can help by donating at your local Safeway checkout. Open to all. The tournaments are in Seattle, Lacey, and Spokane. Register today at championsofchangefoundation.org/pickleball.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, Buc-ee's has you covered with available financing. For oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance, it's Buc-ee's Complete Auto. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you. 4 down territory. Going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
You're free now. Free to stream beyond your wildest dreams.
Rom-coms, slasher-coms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chunky chunkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo-Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
Limited availability, service in select locations only.
Steamers get stolen. A steamer is a car running unoccupied to warm up or stay warm during cold temperatures. Every winter, Washington State sees an uptick in auto theft, and a major reason is steamers. So do not leave your car running unoccupied. You won't see it again. Share this information with friends and family. Prevent the theft and keep you and your vehicle safe. Don't get caught with your car running. These tips are brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
The Lee Johnson culture to me is empowering all of your employees to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. You know, there are certain things that it doesn't matter what level of employment you are in our organization. If it's not the right thing or it doesn't feel right, they have the ability to take care of the customer and make the decision without asking a manager, without asking an owner. The end result is they can speak to the customer with more confidence. They're definitely more confident in what they're trying to provide the customer, what the customer is trying to accomplish, and just giving them a better experience.
His name is Justin Meek. He's the leader and caretaker of more than 300 full-time employees for the Lee Johnson Auto family. It's the united understanding among Lee Johnson employees that customers are the purpose of our day. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It's the Timeline on the Bump and Stacy Show. Michael Bumpus with Curtis Rogers. This is blowing up your timeline. And this first one, I actually like this one, man.
You do?
I like this.
We'll talk about that.
More ball. I'm all for it, man.
Okay.
The NCAA tournament is considered expanding from 68 teams to 76.
Obviously, we have Selection Sunday a month away, and there's development behind the scenes about what this tournament could look like in 2026. NCAA President Charlie Baker is on the record saying there's been discussions about growing the tournament to either 72 or 76 teams. I had multiple high-ranking sources tell me this week that the more likely option, if the tournament were to expand, would be to 76. The NCAA has been in discussions with its media partners for a while on this now, and a decision on whether it does go to 76 would come in the next few months. The move to 76 would be historic. By adding 8 teams, it would be the biggest jump in what the tournament looks like since 1985. The logistics of what that could look like have not been set yet, but it's likely that an additional site like they have Dayton for the first 4 would be added. One likely wrinkle here is that if the men's tournament expands by 8 teams to 76, the women's tournament would expand as well.
More ball. I'm with that. And Curtis, you've mentioned this. The tournament is the best sporting event.
Oh,
I mean,
I love it.
It's real. It's madness. It's literally March Madness, man. And I like the move. You sound like you don't like the move. You know why? Because I'm
an elitist.
Yeah, elitist.
When it comes to college basketball.
Dang Wildcats,
exactly.
man. Or Bears? Bearcats or Wildcats? What do you guys? Wildcats. There you go. Bear down. Bear down. There you go.
I don't like this because it makes it easier to reach the NCAA tournament, which I think is something that should be a tough accomplishment. It lessens the quality of team that makes it and makes the regular season less important. That's kind of how all playoff expansion has been in the last few years. We've seen in the NFL when they went from 12 to 14 teams. Major League Baseball now gets 12 teams in the playoffs, back when it was just 8 about a decade or so ago. It has lessened the importance of the regular season. We've seen the college football playoff now expand to 12, where you've got, teams that would probably go to just a good bowl are now playing games with championship implications. I'm looking at the teams right now, according to Joe Lunardi's bracketology on ESPN.com, the godfather of the brackets, Joey Brackets, as we like to call him.
Joey Brackets.
His first 4 out and his next 4 out teams right now. He's got Indiana among his next 4 out, so that would be a team ranked like 73rd, 74, 75, 76. Indiana is 15-11 this season. They have lost, get this bump, they have lost 6 of their last 7 games. They are bad right now. You're telling me that is a team worthy of a trip to the NCAA tournament? Kansas State is like the hottest team on the planet. They are only 13-13, though. They've lost 2 in a row. Before they were the hottest team on the planet, they won like 4 straight games against ranked teams. They're among the next 4 out. So you're looking at these teams that would then become the teams that were ranked 73rd through 76. And it's like, no, these are not NCAA tournament teams. Like, I'm sorry that me having gone to school at a school that doesn't really ever have to worry about Selection Sunday because they're usually in, I don't think expansion for the NCAA tournament is good. It's good for betting purposes. It's good for the NCAA to make a little bit more money. It's good for the TV networks like True TV that doesn't get many eyes during the rest of the season. But ultimately, I don't think expanding the NCAA tournament is going to get the desired results.
You sound like a rich kid that was born into this great family.
Not everybody deserves a spot in the NCAA tournament.
You got $10 million in the bank right now, and you're looking at us poor folks saying, do better.
Exactly.
Do better.
Pull yourself up.
Give me a
buy
chance.
Your bootstraps. Pay those NIL fees. Pay those kids. Commit some recruiting violations along the way, and you'll find yourself in the NCAA tournament more often.
Arizona, the 1%ers telling us broke folks how to live, huh? Okay. Next up. Man, how they get this wrong, man? The University of Illinois retired the jersey of 2024 NBA draft pick Terrence Shannon, but the problem is the school mistakenly hung the jersey upside down.
Mistakes happen, but there are also certain moments where mistakes can't happen, and tonight, we stole that moment from Terrence, and that's on us and something that we have apologized to him for, apologized to his mom. I want to make sure that we apologize to our fans and everybody who was excited to be a part of this experience tonight.
You got one job.
How does that happen?
You got one job. No one checked it and say, all right.
Stepped back like 50 feet and as they were, because you got to check too. Like, is this straight? Like, Am I hanging this straight? Is it off to one side or another? And they just let it happen.
It looks like
it looks like straight out of a sitcom is what it looks like.
They probably let some intern do it.
Yeah.
And didn't double check and didn't think that this could possibly go wrong. I saw that, and then I looked at Shannon's face, and he handled it well.
You got to play it off as though like there's nothing wrong, but it's one of those things where everybody who sees it is like, this is bad. This is very bad. If you watch the video, too, of the jersey unveiling, you can hear the entire crowd kind of go,
yeah.
It's bad.
See, I don't know if you know this, but I had my jersey retired at my high school.
Oh, okay.
Not in college, high school. And if they unveiled it and it was upside down, I would have to just, I'd be laughing. My boys would be laughing at me. My mom would be laughing. That would be interesting. But just get it right. It's not a difficult job.
No.
Get it right. It's crazy. Next up, Caitlin Clark, man. Her agent, Aaron Kane, tells ESPN it's impossible for the WNBA to pay her client what she is truly worth. Here's the quote. Will Caitlin Clark ever be paid by the WNBA what she's really worth to the league? I don't think that's possible, said Kane, who also represents WNBA Defensive Player of the Year, Nafisa Collier, Arike Ngobwale, and host of other prominent athletes for Excel Sports Management. She's part of a larger player body. They all need to be paid more. She should be recognized for what she has done and what she's brought to the league from an economic standpoint. It's as simple as that. Makes sense. It does make sense. Yeah. But teams have budgets too, right? I mean, I get that she has grown this game in the last year like no one has ever grown the game, in women's basketball. But I also understand that to run a business, you need money.
Exactly.
And you can't operate in the red. There are some businesses that do operate in the red, and they owe a whole bunch of money. The U.S., trillions of dollars in debt, right? It can work, but it's just not smart business. I think she should be paid more. I think that all these women should be paid more according to what's being brought in. I just don't think you throw a number out there and say, that's what she's worth. She is worth a lot more, but it's just smart business. It has to make sense.
Right, and she's not the only athlete you can say that about. I mean, LeBron James, I don't think, is getting paid what he's been worth to the NBA in terms of just his salary from the Lakers. Now, he makes a ton of money via all of his endorsements that he has, but, like, I believe he's making somewhere around like $50 million this season for the Lakers. Like what he has been worth to the NBA every single year in terms of jersey sales, in terms of TV ratings, like the NBA is making way more than $50 million because of, what LeBron James has brought to the league. Same goes for, a lot of these golfers too that, are seeking higher pay. Like when Tiger Woods was at his peak, whatever it was that he was making via his tournament victories
wasn't enough.
Nowhere near enough. Like that dude should have been a billionaire like 25 years ago, right? Not just now. So, yeah, Caitlin Clark is to that level of popularity for her sport. But like you said, the problem is that, I mean, she's making what the WNBA can only afford to pay her.
Right. And she's making money off the court.
Right.
Should they get paid more? For sure. They should all be on private jets, all that good stuff. But it's simple business, man. It has to make sense. You don't want to operate in the red. All right, that was the timeline. When we come back, we're going to go back to Schneider, man. We're going to get his thoughts on the draft. That's coming up next.
Seattle Sports is heading to Arizona for spring training baseball.
Knowing every night when you go out there that you're going to get a great pitching outing is tremendous.
Go behind the scenes with Brock and Salk as the Seattle Mariners get ready for the 2025 season. All next week from 6 to 10.
Back she goes, going and going. Goodbye, baseball. He did it. Julio Rodriguez.
And hear every pitch of spring training baseball on Seattle Sports. Streaming on the Seattle Sports app.
Holy smokes.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy,
We need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Washington's biggest night out for sports is the annual Sports Star of the Year Awards. Join the Seattle Sports Commission for the 90th anniversary of Sports Star and experience red carpet interviews on Media Row, a champions gallery of sports memorabilia, and a live awards show created for the sports community by the sports community. Don't miss your chance to be among the stars on February 27th at the 90th annual Sports Star of the Year Awards, presented by Microsoft. Get your tickets now at seattlesports.org.
Seattle Sports is heading to Arizona for spring training baseball. Go behind the scenes with Brock and Salk all next week from 6 to 10
on Seattle Sports.
Do you need a new roof? Don't wait for summer to replace it. 3 Tree Roofing is here to help you save big this winter. Avoid summer's higher prices and longer wait times and protect your home's integrity now. Visit 3treeroofing.com for your free on-site estimate. Our certified installers make it easy and worry-free, no matter the season. Don't wait. Book your estimate today at 3treeroofing.com. Mention this ad and get $500 off your roof replacement. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. With thousands of full replacements with expert craftsmanship and unbeatable warranties, we've been building roofs you can trust for over 5 decades. It's more than just a job, it's our promise to you. Protect your investment with a free Golden Pledge warranty on all GAF roof replacements over $15,000. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
1877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Curtis Rogers filling in for Stacy Ross. I'm Michael Bumpus, man. The John Schneider show, man. Say that 5 times fast. John Schneider show. John Schneider show. John Schneider show. John Schneider show.
On Wyman and Bob.
On Wyman and Bob. It's back. It is back, and we got some cuts that we didn't get to. We're going to get to some of these now. Last year, the process felt a little rushed with Mike McDonald, right? You get the job in February. You're trying to get your crew together, and it happened fairly quickly. So it's not like you skip some steps, but you might not invest in the process as much as you would if you were already set. And this year they got a chance to go down to the Senior Bowl and watch some of the great talent coming into this draft. Schneider speaks on that.
Great having him down there, though, and it's always. I didn't go last year, because that was the week we ended up hiring Mike. So it was great to get back down there, and it was great to get back with the scouts, like all of our guys, being around our guys, being able to talk. We've been together so long now, we're able to kind of speak the same language. Cool getting down there and seeing the players in person, and then seeing like a lot of these guys I haven't seen in person, some of the smaller school guys and guys that I wasn't necessarily paying attention to early on that have really come risen through the process.
Yeah, he said they just hired Mike the week of the Senior Bowl last year, so they didn't have a chance to get down there as a full unit. Now, the scouts are always going to be around. They got about, 15 or 20 scouts in that department. But there's nothing like seeing these young players in person. And something tells me, Curtis, he spent a lot of time looking at that O-line.
I think so. I think that is area one, or that is need 1, 2, possibly even 3 heading into the draft. They got to figure out the interior of that offensive line, and if that means investing significant draft capital in it, I say more power to you. I say go right ahead. And yeah, I think there were a couple people that had made appearances on the station that were at the Senior Bowl that were like, oh yeah, we definitely saw Mike McDonald and John Schneider spending extra time around the offensive lineman with good reason, because that offensive line was nowhere near where it should be. Especially, for as many years in a row as we've had this conversation, it's time to figure that place out, because it's become just the most frustrating thing about watching the Seahawks team.
So he's checking out the offensive line, and the climate of college sports, especially college football, has changed, right? Guys are getting paid. You're hitting the transfer portal. When I was in college, you could transfer, but you're either going to have to sit out a year or go to a lower division. You can play that following year. He talks about how the transfer portal NIL gives you more reference points on a player.
Now to come back here and have the guys back in the building this week is so exciting, because I'm just so impressed with all of our scouts, all the knowledge, all the stuff they have, especially with all the trade portal stuff and guys leaving and guys making money in NIL now, and okay, well, they know how much money these guys have made, and you're able to talk to if you coached at Oregon and you coached at Ohio State, you're able to talk to both those staffs about these guys. You know what I mean? So you kind of have a really clearer picture on these guys than we have in the past. Sometimes to our detriment in the decision-making process, but it's just awesome to be around all these guys, and so proud of all especially the young guys too. They're just so knowledgeable and on top of it. And
that's an interesting way to look at it, because I think most people look at the transfer portal NIL. It's ruining football, right? Or ruining sports, and I can see where they're coming from. But I also like that, all right, if you do have a kid who transferred to 2 different schools, you get, say, an Oregon coach speak about a kid, an Ohio State coach, and do their viewpoints of this kid align? Are they different? You are getting more information.
You are, and you're also seeing how this kid responds to getting that big payday.
Right.
Because, say what you want about NIL money. It's generational wealth for a lot of these guys. And so, if you're going to pay a prospect, whatever it is that his first-round rookie wage scale tells him to, how is he going to respond to getting that paycheck? Well, we've now seen a little bit, how these kids respond to getting that first, comma in their bank account, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have kind of a better feel as to this kid's not going to take his foot off the gas pedal after he gets paid. We've seen him put up huge numbers at the college level, even though he's making, 6 figures from whatever, company it is that's decided to use him as the face of their product. So, yeah, I think it definitely kind of weeds out more players now than it ever did. Bump, when you were at Wazoo, if you would, let's say whatever, company in Eastern Washington wanted your services and you got paid, $100,000 to voice some spots for them. How different would you have been at 18, 19 years old entering the NFL or leaving college and you were not making that money?
It definitely would be different.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna sit here and lie, but I wouldn't change. I'd be the same person. Yeah, right. You get money in your pocket, things are going to change a little bit. I don't know. I don't know how it would change, but I definitely would be a slightly different person with money at 18 in Pullman.
Yeah.
You give me $100,000 in Pullman, I'm rich. You can't tell me nothing in Pullman. All right, well, this cut right here, man, he was asked if there are position groups that are better addressed in this draft versus free agency.
I would say it changes every year by position, except for the offensive line, because everybody's on this constant quest for offensive linemen and developing offensive linemen. And I mean, you brought up the Super Bowl. We just saw what happened in the Super Bowl, for crying out loud. You know, they're playing for a world championship, and things didn't go well. You know, so every team, everybody you talk to, it's kind of like. And so I would say yes to answer your question. Every position changes every year based on depth, but the offensive line there's always like this dearth of talent at the position. So it's supply and demand, right? So yeah, but there's everybody's when you talk to other teams, when you talk to other GMs about trades and stuff like that, or our guys upstairs talking to other teams, everybody kind of like skips the offensive line because it's like just a given.
Yeah, can't play football without the bigs.
No,
as simple as that. And I've said this before on our show. It is the toughest position to evaluate and just to find talent because 6'6", 330 just ain't walking in the streets. It is so hard to find that type of player to execute your offense. So it's almost like it sounds like to listen to John that GMs don't even touch it. Like, whatever, man. I mean, go do your thing. Good luck finding your guy. We're going to look for our guy. But let's talk quarterbacks. Let's talk running backs and receivers and whatnot. Just the bigs are so hard to find.
You've got to be of a certain mindset and grind set of football guy to really, just obsess yourself with offensive line play. Like, even the most football knowledgeable people I know will defer to guys like Big Bray, who played in the NFL for a number of years and knows all sorts about offensive line play. It's why people say it's like one of the most important hires on a team is that offensive line coach. Alex Gibbs, when he was with Denver all those years, I mean, made such a difference for that run game and their blocking scheme and whatnot. That's kind of what Clint Kubiak is going to bring, or at least a version of that, since he comes from his dad's coaching tree, who had Alex Gibbs there in Denver coaching alongside of him. So, I mean, yeah, you've got to be a special breed to really invest yourself in offensive line play.
It's a beautiful thing. We got 5 bigs moving in the right direction.
I can tell you what good offensive line play is, I can tell you, I don't know if I can pinpoint what great offensive line play is, but I know what bad offensive line play looks like.
It's easy to spot that.
Yeah,
it's easy to spot it.
He missed a guy right there.
That guy's wide open. All right, man. That's enough football for now. When we come back, we'll talk a little baseball with the Athletics' Eno Sarris. That is next here on the Bump and Stacy Show.
When you're running the hurry up and don't have time for your favorite Seattle sports shows, listen to the podcast on demand.
How about that? Unbelievable. Who would have thought?
Every hour, every interview, every look behind the scenes.
He is your new Seahawks head coach, Mike McDonald.
We want to play a certain way, and you're just going to chisel away at it every day.
Find us on seattlesports.com, the Seattle Sports app, or wherever you get podcasts.
All signs continue to point to it being the right hire.
Never miss a minute of Seattle sports, the home of the Seahawks.
Hi, I'm Tyler, and I want to share my awesome experience we just had with Window Nation. When we bought our home in Edmonds, Washington, we noticed some of the windows needed to be replaced. Our living room was cold and drafty in the winter, and it was hot and stale in the summer. But after a lot of research and a few bids, we chose Window Nation to replace our windows. From the first consultation to the final installation, their team was professional, friendly, and incredibly knowledgeable. Window Nation offered a wide variety of high-quality, energy-efficient windows that not only look great, but we immediately noticed the difference in the comfort of our home. And the best part was the installation process. The crew arrived on time, worked efficiently, and they left our home spotless. It's the best home improvement project we've ever done.
Call Window Nation today and see the difference. Right now, save 60% on all windows and pay nothing for 2 years. Visit windownation.com or call 866-90NATION to schedule your free in-home estimate and get 60% off. That's windownation.com.
Febreze. It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request that complimentary design and estimate consultation today at 206-992-0364, 206-992-0364, or project ideas, explore photos at PCFgroup.com, PCFgroup.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Underestimating the trucking industry is one of the biggest mistakes I see victims and other lawyers make. Trucking companies have an army of lawyers and experts who act quickly after an accident to protect the company. Only an experienced trucking accident lawyer can navigate the complicated federal and state laws to protect your rights. If you or a loved one has been injured in a trucking accident, call Davis Law Group today for a free consultation, or get my free book on trucking accident law at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
NBA All-Star Weekend ended with Matt McClung winning his third straight slam dunk contest. He's only played in 5 NBA games. He's a G Leaguer, but he's got 3 slam dunk contests wins. Tyler Hero grabbing his first 3-point title. Sweden beat the U.S. last night in the Four Nations tournament, but it meant nothing. Championship game is on Thursday, Canada. Let's go get it. And former Justin Turner, Mariner great, signed a 1-year deal with the Cubs.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
It Happy Tuesday. Curtis Rogers filling in for Stacy Ross. I'm Michael Bumpus. We're waiting for our guy Eno Sarris to join us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. We are going to talk a little baseball, and I'm going to tell you what my first question is going to be to Eno.
What is it?
Who should be the opening day starter? All right. Me and you are going with Castillo. We got Bones back there says he wants Walter on the mound, and I think you can't go wrong with either one. But
right.
I respect my elders. I'm older than Castillo, but he's the elder statesman in this rotation. I'm gonna roll with him.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there on Luis Castillo being the opening day starter. I don't think it hurts you in the long run as to who gets the start on opening day, and I think Luis Castillo has earned it over the course of his career. I get that you can't, be caught looking in the rear view too much, but again, I don't think his year was as bad as some people kind of make it out to be, because he was, again, through 175 innings, made, I think, 30 starts. He was definitely he was counted on a lot last year, and I think more often than not was able to deliver.
It's a great problem to have. Right. Typically, rotations have their ace, their guy. You know who you're going to roll with the Mariners, man. You got some room to wiggle. But what I'm more concerned about is just the bats, right? You can have that rotation. If you're not producing runs, then you're going to stress those arms out even more. So no matter who the starter is going to be on opening day, the bats got to get rolling.
It really does, or they really do. And I think a couple of guys who I'm looking at, Bump, as guys that are going to be asked a lot this season, outside of like Julio and JP, we've talked about those guys a lot recently, but I'm looking at Randy Arozarena as a guy that really needs to have a bounce back, not just for himself, but also for the Mariners. He came over and put up numbers that were slightly better than what he did in Tampa last year, but his numbers in Tampa were definitely not what we have come to expect out of him and out of what he has been able to do in his career. So if you can have Randy Arozarena put up numbers that are closer to what he did in like 22 and 23, I mean, heck, he was a home run derby participant here in Seattle back when the All-Star game was here in 2023. So I think there's opportunities for the Mariners to get more contribution from him. And I mean, look, I know it pains a lot of Mariners fans to hear this, but like, you get a full year of Randy Arozarena, which can be seen as a bit of an acquisition. I mean, look, you didn't have him for a full year last year. You didn't have Victor Robles for a full year last year. Those two guys could really help you out in terms of making sure that this offense is in a better place. And I think Victor Robles is another guy, Bump, who I'm looking at as somebody atop that lineup. And I mean, you talk to anybody with this Mariners organization, the one word that I think comes to mind for a lot of them is just the energy that he brought.
The way you put it is exactly how Justin Hollander put it, right? He goes, look, we're banking on Robles looking like the guy that we saw, a full year with Arozarena. And it's unfortunate because the fans wanted a bigger move, right? You wanted a splash, but we know how the Mariners operate. And they said, no, we made our splash actually halfway through the season last year. Now we get a full season of Arozarena with you 100%, man. That outfield just has to produce when it comes to driving runs in. Julio obviously has to play better. But I didn't realize that Arozarena was in that home run derby. I was here a few years ago.
Yeah. Him and I think Vlad Jr. was in it. There was a few guys that were hitting it well. Obviously, Julio setting the single-round record here in Seattle during that derby. But, yeah, Randy was there. He wore his, like, cowboy boots in between rounds. It was quite the sight. But, yeah, I think those two guys I'm looking at in this lineup, Bump, I mean, you kind of know what you're going to get from Cal. The only stride you can hope for Cal is that the batting average and the on-base percentage go up. But again, he was so valuable with the glove, hitting, home runs. His slugging percentage was amazing as well last year. Like, I don't know if you necessarily need more from Cal in order to have the very best version of the Mariners out there, but you need more from Julio. You need more from JP. You need more from Randy, and I think you need Victor Robles to. I don't know if a realistic expectation is him being able to match what he did last year, because if he does what he did last year over the course of 162 games, you're talking about a potential MVP candidate. Like, you're talking about a guy that could put up upwards of like 7 to 8 wins above replacement, which is an absurd number. Which, like, if Julio put that up, we'd be talking about him as a surefire MVP candidate. If Victor Robles does that over a full season, you're looking at a definite all-star, if not more than that.
Justin also said when he was here, he's excited about Cole Young. What do you think the chances are we see that young man this year?
I think the chances are very high, especially because your second base job is one that I think is the most up in the air right now. You've got Dylan Moore, Ryan Bliss. Maybe Donovan Solano plays a little bit over there. You've got Jorge Polanco, who could potentially in a pinch play over there. He was a second baseman last year. He's your third baseman right now. So there's just a lot of question marks at second base. It presents an opportunity for a young guy like Cole Young to come in there. I wonder, though, where that bat is, especially because his numbers in Double-A last year weren't great. But the good thing about that is that the Mariners Double-A ballpark is one of the toughest to hit in all of the minor leagues. So it's kind of a good proving ground for any Mariners prospect, where it's like, if you can hit halfway decent in Double-A in this system, you could potentially hit well at the big league level, just based off of how difficult it is to hit.
Man, they can't even catch a break in Double-A, right? You play T-Mobile, one of the hardest ballparks to hit, and then you mentioned that even in Double-A, it's tough for these young men to make moves or whatnot. Is there? We've talked about Cal improving his on-base percentage, strikeouts, and whatnot. The outfield, can Robles tap into whatever he tapped into last year? Rosarena, JP's got to step up this year. What are you expecting from him?
I would hope that JP is playing to a level somewhat close to 2023. I don't know if that is a fair expectation for him, because that was one season out of a few now where his numbers were a bit of an outlier that year in terms of how good they were. I'm not saying that JP is a bad hitter by any stretch, but I don't think it can get any worse than what it was in 2024. So hopefully there is improvement there, because you're going to need as many games as possible out of JP Crawford, because who are your other shortstop options?
That's it.
That's it, right? Exactly. You could maybe try to fast track guys like Colt Emerson, but I don't think they're anywhere close to the big leagues right now. I think they're going to get their feet wet at Double-A this season, and it's just, you got to have a good season out of JP, because the options behind him are very, very limited. You have really no other choice but to have a bounce back season from JP Crawford.
If we were granted the trip to spring training, what would be the first position group you're going to look at? Are you just going to admire the pitchers, or where's Curtis Rogers' first stop?
I think the pitchers are who they are. Like, they are, you kind of know what you're going to get out of all those guys. I think for me, the most interest I have in this team is the infield. I think the infield is going to decide a lot about the ceiling of this Mariners team. I think the infield, whether it be your first baseman, whether it be Luke Raley, Donovan Solano, second base, Dylan Moore, Ryan Bliss, JP Crawford at short, Jorge Polanco at third, those guys are going to be asked to do more than what they have ever done at the big league level. And for some of those guys, it's kind of like, well, do they have that within them at their stage of their careers? Like, is Donovan Solano capable of doing better than what he has done to this point in his career? I don't think so. I think he is who he is. I think, Luke Raley, if he's able to do what he did last year, then you're in a good spot. But the infield is going to be kind of what makes and breaks this offense.
I'm interested to see Ryan Bliss. We saw him last year play in several games. We know what he brings, man. He's fast. He's athletic. Is it even fair to have any type of expectations for that dude?
I think a Ryan Bliss expectation is one where it's like, yeah, if you can make it through an entire season, then sure. Like, if he can play at a big league level, then I don't think anybody can complain about that. But I don't know if he's somebody that you can rely upon every single day. That just seems to me like you're asking a lot of a dude that was kind of exposed during his one cup of coffee last year. Maybe he got that figured out, but who knows at this point.
Yeah, he's an interesting player. A fun player, though.
Sure.
A fun player to watch, but you need that consistency, man. So going into this season, all right, we've broken down the outfield is probably the strongest position group outside of the rotation, obviously. Cal, hopefully he's the platinum catcher that we know and that we love. How important is the success of Demo? Because they're asking a lot more of Demo this year.
Right, and his bat has never been one to really make waves, but he did win a Gold Glove last year, so hopefully there's going to be
about that
expectation there. I believe we've got our guest on the line.
All right, well, we are joined now by the Athletic Eno Sarris. Eno, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you guys?
We're good, man. Just talking a little ball. Now, I told our listeners what I was going to ask you already, so I'm just going to get right into it. If you were responsible for making this decision, who is the opening day starter for the Mariners?
That is a good one because they are so good. All of them are so good. But I'm going to go with Logan Gilbert. And the reason I'm doing that is because I am just so impressed by, his countenance on the mound. He's become a bulldog. And I don't know if people remember that first stint in the major leagues, he had slumped shoulders and he was kind of lost on the mound. And he's become such a bulldog. He's kind of represents what I want in an ace. He wants the ball. He wants to dominate. And he's kind of fierce, and now he's grown into himself. So I would give it to Logan Gilbert.
Okay, I like that. When you look at this Mariners team right now compared to the rest of the division in the AL West, where do you see them kind of stacking up? Because it was a weird offseason for the division. You saw the Astros lose some big names, but they also were active in free agency. The Angels were active in free agency, but who knows what their direction of their franchise is. The A's were active in free agency. How do you see this division shaking up right now?
I think there's a three-way tie at the top of the division. I think that the Astros have taken a step back and are no longer the kind of juggernaut, the every year feared juggernaut that they once were. Trading away Cal Tucker made sense for them to kind of paper over some issues they had, but it also makes them less fearful, when it comes to facing them over the course of the season. And the Mariners have the best starting rotation. Maybe the Rangers have the best lineup. The Astros are in between, but I think all three of those teams are really good teams, and I wouldn't be surprised if any of the three took it. And that's what the projections say, too. That's basically a three-way tie.
What type of impact do you think Dan Wilson can have with a full season under his belt?
I don't know. I tend to think it's the players that do the work. But a lot of times the coach is the person who kind of sets the mood and keeps all the personalities happy. I think in this case, what we're looking for is Jorge Polanco to kind of, be better in his second year there. I think a lot of players have a hard time, maybe Randy Rosarena too, where they have a hard time with the peculiarities of the park and strike out a lot when they first get there. And both those players, given a second chance at the park, I think could figure it out. I think Julio still has that breakout season in him. So, those are the three players that I have circled as, needing to do a little bit more this coming season. And if they do that, they'll answer a lot of questions about his lineup.
Julio Rodriguez last season, his performance for much of the year was below what we had really expected out of him. Turned it on in the season's final couple months to where he brought up his overall season totals to a much more respectable level. But did last year do anything to maybe change your mind on what Julio's ceiling can be, or is this a guy who you still think could be or not just a star in this league, but one of the faces of this game?
in the second half, he hit 285 with a good slugging, over 800 OPS, was almost 40% better than league average. His strikeout rate went down, his power went up. And that's something we've seen from him, over the course of his career, is that sometimes the beginning of the season is a bit of a feeling out process, and then there's a moment where he goes white hot. What happened last year is I think he got hurt in the middle of being white hot. And that really hurt just what you think of him from an overall line, because he didn't have that month where he's just blistering hot and he's on fire, and he's had that the last couple of seasons. So it didn't really change much about it. I'm a little bit surprised at how kind of streaky he is, but I think it's a really good baseline talent that can make the right adjustment at the right moment and turn into a superstar. One year you might have, the second halves all year and just have that peak season from him. And it could be this year. I mean, the adjustments he made in the second half, if they poured over to next year, that would be the best season you get from him. It would be a 30-30 season from a center fielder, MVP discussion type season. And I still think he's got that in it.
Hey, what do you think of the bullpen right now for the Mariners?
It's always a strength, and I think they've put it together again. Andres Munoz is one of my favorite closers in the big leagues, and he's got that power sinker. I don't know if Mariners fans know how good Gregory Santos is. They only saw about 7 innings in him last year, but he can be really exciting as well. And they put the pieces around those guys. Thornton's been good out of the pen, so I think it's a strength, and it'll be even better when Matt Brash comes back.
A lot of talk this offseason has been made about the spending of specifically the Dodgers, also the Mets as well, with the Juan Soto contract. How do you see this whole thing playing out? Because it feels like there are owners now that are just kind of tired of what the Dodgers have been up to. And when you pit owners against owners, that usually doesn't spell good things for where labor kind of stands in the game.
Yeah, and there's just as much consternation about the Dodgers spending as the Pirates not spending, and a floor. But you're not going to get a salary floor without a salary cap, and this union is really against a salary cap. And if you did ever get a salary cap, it would change arbitration completely. Instead of having your young players for 6 years, you might have your young players for 3 years. That's the kind of radical change that would the only way that the players would ever accept a salary cap. So I don't think that anything's changing that way. I tend to be hopeful about the changing face of TV. Right now, there's a lot more money from streaming, and there's some of these teams are changing the way that they're thinking about broadcasting their television rights. And I think that if we shared if baseball as a sport shared that TV money better, that we could find a way through that revenue sharing, that TV sharing, to kind of even the playing field a little bit.
Yeah, I'm all about that, man. Especially here in Seattle. I'm gonna go across.
Just another $20 million would have made a big difference this offseason.
You feel me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go across the league, man. Is there a team that you feel like are moving in the right direction when it comes to building? Maybe not a team that is a popular pick, but a team that you feel like is moving in the right direction.
Oh, that's an interesting question. Let me see. I think the Nationals are putting it together, and you start looking around. They've got James Woods and Dylan Cruz in the outfield. Those are high picks that really exciting players. They're starting to put it together in the rotation. I think this will be the year that the Nationals are better than people expect, and they'll look up in a couple of years. They'll be contending for the top of the NL East, and people will be surprised. But they've put together a lot of really good talent there over the years while they've been rebuilding.
How much pressure do you think is there on this Mariners front office to deliver a winner, to deliver a playoff team here in 2025, especially after the couple of years of missing out just by a game or two in the final weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a little tough there. One thing you can say for them, in the affirmative is just that they made fun of, Jerry DiPoto for saying that we want to build every year winner, 85 wins, that sort of deal. But that's exactly what they've been. They're 11th in wins across baseball the last 3 years, and they've kind of hit that mid-80s win total. So their perspective is, hey, we're building good teams, and 1 year we're going to, things are going to all fall into place in the right way, and we'll be even better. So that's just not a very sexy selling point. So I think at some point they do need to get those playoff wins to show something for their efforts. I think they've generally been good teams, but they also have been flawed, and they just haven't gotten up to the mountaintop. So there's got to be some stress there out of that.
We've heard some great things about the young prospect, Cole Young. What have you heard about this young man, and do you expect to see him in the bigs this year?
I do, because, the Mariners did everything they could on the limited budget to kind of paper over their problems at second and third, which were pretty extensive. I think Polanco and Moore give them the veteran options, but if you are going to be good this year, you need to be better than Polanco and Moore, basically. And I think that, Cole Young, maybe Ryan Bliss, I think it's a little bit early for Cole Emerson, but one of these young middle infielders is going to have to step forward in the next couple of years. What I really like about Cole Young is he gets on base and he has a good glove. So the floor is good, and, if he can add power to that, he can really be a five-tool player.
He is the Athletics' Eno Sarris on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. We appreciate your time, man.
Thanks, Eno.
All right, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, that was Eno Sarris, man. When we come back, we'll talk some NFL. You got Cam Ward sending out a warning to teams that don't pick him, and JSN try to clear some things up. That's next on the Bump and Stacy Show.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk.
Mariners pitcher Emerson Hancock,
Weekdays 6 to 10.
Start of spring's been great. It's always exciting getting back and being around the guys and just kind of getting back into the routine of things. It's exciting right now. This is, I think, my third spring training so far, and it just kind of feels like, man, everything's, a little bit easier. You get a little bit more comfortable and just kind of keep rolling from there.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. So I actually went home and counted how many connected devices I own. It's more than a dozen. All to keep me connected to the good stuff. Streaming, gaming, all the interneting, you name it. Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. And that's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. Hundreds, for real. And now through March 18th, get Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for a year with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add an unlimited mobile line. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with trade-in. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store and bank account. Taxes and fees extra after promo regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required. Reduce mobile speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds and actual internet speeds vary.
What is that sound? Ugh, that sounds like a plumbing sound. Luckily, there's a company that fixes all the plumbing sounds across Puget Sound. That's All Sound Plumbing. Puget Sound's plumbing experts. Have a sound? Visit allsoundplumbing.com.
Oh, by the way, Ivan's no longer on the project. His wife got a new job, so they're moving across the country.
Robin's top researcher is deviating to a new market. This isn't standard.
And now we're short-staffed. Who's going to finish all these projects?
She needs a cluster of new data analysts, and there's no margin for error.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Your favorite Seattle sports show is available anywhere you go through the Seattle Sports app. Brought to you by Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center Proton Therapy. Full shows and interviews, exclusive video and articles from the home of the Seahawks and Mariners. The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Our friends at Mazda of Everett always offer you their lowest price. Shop over 800 new Mazdas online at MazdaofEverett.com. Click on Get the Mazda of Everett price for their best deal. Shop MazdaofEverett.com or stop in and meet our friends at Mazda of Everett located in Everett at 11409 Highway 99. If you're shopping for a new car, make sure our friends at Mazda of Everett are on your list.
The Gene Simmons Band, live Tuesday, April 8th at Muckleshoot Event Center. He's the God of Thunder. He's going to rock and roll all night and bring you an unforgettable night of head-banging rock and roll. Get tickets now at MuckleshootCasino.com. The Gene Simmons Band, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
Did you know that your windows and doors are your main source of energy loss? At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, our windows with triple weather shipping and gasket seals are up to 25% more efficient than Energy Star standards. LakeWashingtonWindows.com, a name you can trust.
Through February, for each window or door you buy, you get one at 50% off. Plus, make no payments for 18 months OAC. For details, visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com today, a name you can trust.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
This is the Bump and Stacy show. Curtis Rogers filling in for Stacy Ross. Let's go around the NFL. NFL headlines, man. Jackson Smith and Jigba had an opportunity to clear the air when it comes to his famous Shane Waldron quote. What was that? Was that at the Super Bowl?
It was at the Super Bowl. Yeah. We can find and listen to that one here. I think I have it saved. Here we go.
Bears fans are super interested about the offensive coordinator coming in, Shane Waldron. What can you tell them about who they just hired to try to get this offense where it needs to go?
This is live?
Yeah, we're not live. We're not live.
I'm playing. Good luck to y'all. I mean, he's a great person, great offensive coordinator. I was very lucky to have him my first year. Learned a lot from him. I think him and Justin will mesh well, and adding more guys around him, I think it would be great. So,
not very convincing.
You gotta do better than that, JSN, man. I don't believe him. I think that he wasn't prepared to say anything great about Shane Waldron. Right. So in this clip right here, he tries to clear things up.
You take the. Oh yeah, I mean, I would love to clear it up. I mean, bro, I'm in Vegas, bro. That's everything you really need to know. But I'm in Vegas. I'm doing a lot of appearances. I was about to say, making that money. I'm doing a lot of interviews, and I'm everywhere. And I blame my people for not letting me know. what I was walking into, like, sadly. And then I walked in, did a little interview. Like, oh, y'all boys, like, from Chicago. Like, I don't really know what was going on in the interview. Like, to be honest, like, I didn't know if it was live. I didn't know if, is this a recording? But my mind was in Vegas, and I hadn't talked about the season on, and they hit me with a Shane Waldron question. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, my first year, bro, I didn't want to disrespect the man. There should be no disrespect towards him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I really do think he was a good offensive coordinator.
I'm not convinced, but I guess we'll have to take his word for it. But if I saw the clip, I'm looking at his body language, listening to him. Obviously, we're all listening to him. And it sounds like it was tough for him to compliment Shane Waldron.
Yeah.
And so be it. And Shane is a good person. I've met Shane. I sit there and watch football with him. He knows the game, but sometimes it just doesn't translate. Sometimes you're not connected with the players, and that's the feeling that I got with Shane.
I think JSN, listening to his second answer on the whole Waldron thing, yeah, you can blame Las Vegas and the partying the night before and whatnot, and he did throw his PR team under the bus,
sure did.
saying that, they didn't brief me on that. But Jason, I get that you're now 2 years into the NFL. You were just a rookie back then. How do you not have a canned answer ready to go that is going to just keep everybody happy? We're like, hey, what'd you think of Shane Waldron? Be like, oh, I wish him the best of luck in Chicago. I thought, he was a good offensive coordinator, and hope that he's, feeling all right after getting fired. Like,
yeah,
that's all you have to say.
You don't have
you don't have to say anything. But by him having that pregnant pause that was like 5-6 seconds long, said all you need to know about what JSN thought of Shane Waldron as Seahawks offensive coordinator.
And, JSN is coming from Ohio State. Like, wide receiver their offenses are intricate, and they find ways to get their wideouts to football. He just wasn't used to the offense that he was in. So I don't think he meant to disrespect Shane Waldron, but, man, you got to have that generic answer ready to go at all time. All right, next up, we got Cam Ward has a warning for teams at the top of the draft that don't pass on him. He said, okay, you're either going to draft me or you're not. If you don't draft me, that's your fault. You've got to remember you're the same team that's got to play me for the rest of my career, and I'll remember that. Shots fired.
Blah.
But there's only going to be like 2 or 3 teams that don't pick him up.
Yeah, Cam, I think you're only talking to like maybe 2 teams in this league. Like, you're not going to slip very far down in this draft. I don't think he slips out of the top 5. No. Do we think Tennessee's going to stay at number 1? Maybe. I mean, they definitely need a quarterback. Will Levis has not shown himself to be the guy. But let's say like Abdul Carter seems to be the guy right now out of Penn State that people are like, this guy is the most talented dude in the draft. Does Tennessee look at that and say, we're going to go with the sure thing in a pass rusher over a quarterback who, I don't know if Cam Ward's a day 1 starter. Do you think Cam Ward's a day 1 starter in the NFL?
I think he has to be. I think.
I mean, if you're getting picked, if you're taking number 1 overall or at least a top 4 or 5 pick, yeah, you probably do have to start.
I'm all for guys sitting and developing and not throwing them in there. But if you are Tennessee, if you are Cleveland, you need it. And not even just for the play on the field, but to give your fans something to be excited about, because there's not much to cheer about in those markets right now. The Tennessee Titans have done a horrible job drafting quarterbacks the last 2 or 3 seasons with Malik Willis, and then you got Levis over there as well. It's going to be tough. So I think that he would definitely benefit from sitting a year or 2. But when you're a desperate team at the top of the draft, you're probably going to play that rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
All right, next up today is when teams can start to use the franchise tag on upcoming free agents. It closes on March 4th. Cincinnati wide receiver T. Higgins is expected to receive the tag if he and the Bengals can't reach an agreement on a contract extension. You got other candidates, include Sam Darnold, the Chiefs guard Trey Smith, and Dolphins safety Devon Holland. We heard Joe Burrow put it out there. Look, sign my guys. Extend Jamar Chase, get T. Higgins in the mix. They had one of the best offenses in the game last year. They have to bring these guys back, but they got to look at that defense too.
I read from Jeremy Fowler of ESPN that the Bengals were going to attempt to re-sign Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Trey Hendrickson. He called it, I think, audacious, but look, if you're the Bengals and you want to rid yourself of the label of being a cheap franchise, you go out and pay all three of those guys, in addition to Joe Burrow. And that's how you're going to keep Joe Burrow happy, is by keeping the most talented guys around. You think Joe Burrow wants to be done with this wide receiver group of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? No way. He wants to throw to these guys for the remainder of his career because they're one of the best receiver duos in the entire league. Jamar Chase is a top 2 or 3 receiver, depending on who you ask. And T. Higgins is one of the best second options in all of football. And Trey Hendrickson led the NFL in sacks this last year. Like, the dudes who were not the issue in Cincinnati deserve their kudos, deserve to be paid as such. And the fact that there's even a question that Cincinnati may not extend any of these guys, that's an indictment on their franchise.
That's perfect way to put it. The guys who aren't the issue, pay those guys. You have literally 4 of the best in the game at their position. You're already a bad defense. Keep what's working for you, and sign those guys. Get it going. Our ESPN Packers reporter Rob Demovsky says it's likely star cornerback Jaire Alexander has played his last down with the team and will be a cap casualty. He was considered at one point one of the best corners in the game.
For sure.
And this is just the business side of the NFL. They have to get better defensively over there. Obviously, you got to protect your quarterback in Jordan Love. He had an up-and-down type of season, not as consistent as he was the previous year. It's just doing business in the NFL.
Yeah, 28 years old, but he has missed significant time the last 2 seasons. He's only played in a combined 14 games in 23 and 24. Played in 16 in 2022, but then in 2021 only played in 4 games. So he has missed a lot of time in each of the last 4 seasons. But when healthy, like you said, Bump, one of the best cornerbacks in all of the league, had 5 interceptions in that 2022 season. Could definitely see a team that is a contender make a push for him, bring him in as a veteran, bring him in as a guy that if he doesn't stay healthy, your season's not tanked. Just good quality wide receiver depth. I mean, he's a 2-time All-Pro. Like, this is a guy that is when he's at his best, is one of the very best in the game.
Last one. Disturbing one. Yeah. 7 more women have accused Ravens kicker Justin Tucker of sexual misconduct at high-end spas. This brings the total to 16 accusers. Not looking too good for our guy, Justin Tucker.
No, and I think if you're the NFL, you've set the precedent with the Deshaun Watson suspension from a couple of years ago. Like, you got to be looking at least something similar to that for Justin Tucker. Now, I don't believe any of these accusations have come with criminal charges, which is a weird little, like, quirk about this incident going on. So I don't know what the NFL can really do, since it's all just kind of lawsuits, I think.
Right.
But again, you suspended Deshaun Watson for 11 games for essentially the same exact thing.
Right.
So if you're and also Baltimore, he's a kicker. Kickers are the most expendable people on an NFL roster. I get that he is historically the most accurate kicker. He's a 7-time Pro Bowl kicker, sure. But, like, wouldn't you want to rid yourself of this headache?
I mean, they already have a bad rep over there in Baltimore with the Ray Rice situation as well. Now Tucker doing his thing. Goodness gracious. Not looking good for Tucker, but we'll let this thing play out and see what happens. All right, you guys don't go anywhere. We got more coming up on the Bump and Stacy Show.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Herm Edwards joining us now.
I think they want to win now. So you have a quarterback that's won, that's done a nice job in that division, understands the division. You got a San Francisco team that was reeling from last year. An Arizona team is pretty competitive. And the Rams are really good. Seattle has a veteran quarterback. We know the 49ers have. Arizona has one as well. So this division's always been pretty competitive. But I think in this offense, I think Gino will fare well.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request that complimentary design and estimate consultation today at 206-992-0364, 206-992-0364, or project ideas, explore photos at PCFgroup.com, PCFgroup.com.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at EmeraldQueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 206-529-1111 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Old Spice Swagger Body Wash will make you the MVP of freshness and confidence. With its irresistible scent, it will transform your shower experience, leaving you feeling fresh on and off the field. Pair it with Old Spice Swagger Deodorant, the #1 aluminum-free brand that keeps you feeling like a Super Bowl champion 24/7 when used daily. But don't wait. This dynamic duo is available at Costco for a limited time only. Old Spice, official deodorant partner of the NFL and Super Bowl 59, where freshness meets football greatness.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
I'm attorney Rob Iddens, proud Marine Corps veteran and owner of Warrior Injury Law. We help all types of injury victims like Sean, who was rear-ended in a car accident.
They're just easy to work with. They're fast. I like the fact that he had military service. I can see a lot of Marine in Rob. He's very in charge, really gets things done. But I didn't have to do anything. He offered me a settlement, had a number in my head, was nearly double that. I would refer absolutely anybody to Rob.
If you've been injured, call us at 253-WARRIOR. Warrior Injury Law. Battle tested. Eddie's!
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Do you need a new roof? Don't wait for summer to replace it. 3 Tree Roofing is here to help you save big this winter. Avoid summer's higher prices and longer wait times and protect your home's integrity now. Visit 3treeroofing.com for your free on-site estimate. Our certified installers make it easy and worry-free, no matter the season. Don't wait. Book your estimate today at 3treeroofing.com. Mention this ad and get $500 off your roof replacement. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head.
The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a hockey tournament going on. It's a tournament, right? It's a tournament. It's a championship game. The Four Nations, man. It's honestly, at first I go, what is this? What's going on? Where's the All-Star game? And I sit down and I start watching it, and man, as soon as you slap a USA on anything,
right,
we could be watching cricket, we could be watching bowling. It don't matter. I stand a little taller and I get patriotic in this piece, and I really stood up and got patriotic when the puck dropped against Canada and hands were thrown.
His face-off matchup is underway, and the gloves are off. Matthew Tkachuk and Brandon Hagel. Hagel from Tampa Bay, Tkachuk from Florida. Did not see this coming.
Why didn't you see it coming, baby? What's going on? This is what happens.
It had to have crossed the minds of at least some people being like, I think maybe things aren't so cool between these two sides. And, I'm sure there's teammates that play for Team USA and Team Canada on both sides there. To me, Saturday night was one of the most enjoyable sports viewing experiences I've had. And kind of pleasantly surprised by it, too, because I went into that game between Canada and USA just kind of not really thinking that what we saw happen was going to happen. But I was like, all right, this is going to be an entertaining watch. And then it turned out to be wow, the intensity of it. Guys just, obviously dropping the gloves there to start the game. But then later on, the checking was very impressive. It looked like it had the intensity of playoff hockey. You've heard a couple of guys describe it as, these are all Game 7 atmospheres. We don't want to lose. USA lost last night, but the game didn't mean anything in the overall standings because they had already clinched a spot in Thursday's championship game. But, looking at the intensity of what Saturday was in Canada, obviously, and then obviously what has transpired between the two countries in the, 4 weeks since Inauguration Day. So there is an obvious, but just there's an elephant in the room.
There's some tension there.
Yeah, when these two teams have gotten together in this tournament. So I would imagine it's going to be a little bit more of that. The series heads back to Boston for the championship game. That game was played in Montreal up north on Saturday. But like you said, there are very few shared viewing experiences that we have as sports fans, quite like international play, where we all root for our local teams when it's regular season time, where you root for the Dodgers during baseball season. I root for the Mariners, we root for the Seahawks and whatnot, but slap a United States flag on a jersey and we're all rooting for the same team. It's very rare that happens in American professional sports. And, just seeing a lot of people after the game just being like, that's right. That's right. Americans run hockey now.
We run this.
Yeah. When was the last time the Canadians won a Stanley Cup? But I just think there's no way the NHL can go back to what the previous versions of the All-Star game was after this. And you and I were talking about why stop at 4? Maybe make it an 8-team tournament, make it a 16-team tournament. Who knows?
Yeah, no, I loved it. And I loved the 3 fights within 10 seconds, but I also like the comeback. U.S. is down 1-0. You look up, you're down 1-0, and this goal right here by Dylan Larkin put the U.S. up 2-1.
Now it's Larkin with a burst of speed. He scores! Dylan Larkin in transition gives the United States the lead for the first time tonight.
I was watching the hockey at my buddy's restaurant, Moonshine, in Linwood, and legit, it's a hockey bar, and that thing was packed. This is for the game last night, knowing that, the U.S. has already clinched and they're in. But the bar was packed, man, and it was an exciting experience. And the more, obviously, since the Kraken came over to Seattle, I pay attention to hockey a lot more than I used to growing up going to a couple Kings games or whatnot in L.A. But it's the energy and the speed of the game that you can feel. You can look at a regular season hockey game, and obviously they're flying around and stuff, but there's just a different passion in that game. Even just last night, knowing that they set a few of their guys, and you already clinched a spot in the championship game. Sweden was still hyped that they won. It's just it's a great event, and you're absolutely right. There is no turning back from this.
Yeah, you can't possibly go back to the All-Star game format. The good thing, though, is in 2026, we will get Olympic hockey, which will have professional players in it again after not participating in the 2018 or 2022 games. Now you will see them back in 2026. I believe in 27, it's either a return to the Four Nations or there is the World Cup of Hockey, which is basically kind of the same style as Olympic play. So you're going to see more and more international hockey over the next few years, which I think is a good thing. And I mean, just the cut that has been playing in my mind ever since Saturday, or really, I think this was said on Sunday, actually. But here we are on Tuesday, is John Cooper, who's Team Canada's head coach, talking about just the impact of what we saw on Saturday night.
The game is in a better place because last night's game existed. The only thing that was disappointing that we weren't on the right end of it, but the characters, the personalities on both teams, I think really came to the forefront, and it's why we love this game. And I don't know of there's lots of great sports out there. I don't want to corner us and put us in a corner, but it's a pretty brilliant game of speed, grace, and toughness and swag and all those things combined in one, and it can bring 22,000 people to a frenzy, and it was phenomenal to be a part of.
Yeah, and I don't know if the atmosphere is going to match quite what we saw on Saturday because that game was played up in Canada, but I would imagine the Boston crowd is going to bring it on Thursday night.
If I were coach, I would have said, this is the greatest team sport of all time. I would have just leaned into it like, we got it. You guys see what hockey can do. Greatest team sport of all time. I like this. The 253 says, we're the bad guys in the Mighty Ducks.
It does kind of feel
that
like that way.
It feels like we're the bad guys. You know what? I'm okay being a bad guy every now and then, especially when it comes to sports. I'll be the bad guy all day. If we winning, I will be that bad guy. So, the game is on Thursday, I believe at 5 o'clock in Boston. So I know that region is a hockey region. You guys show up, be loud, and let's break the record. 4.4 million people viewed the game on Saturday. Yeah. Let's bump that thing up to 5 million. All right, when we come back, we'll be joined by ESPN and Kraken Hockey Network host Linda Cohn. That's next on the Bump and Stacy Show.
Seattle Sports is heading to Arizona for spring training baseball.
Knowing every night when you go out there that you're going to get a great pitching outing is tremendous.
Go behind the scenes with Brock and Salk as the Seattle Mariners get ready for the 2025 season. All next week from 6 to 10.
Back she goes, going and going. Goodbye, baseball. He did it. Julio Rodriguez.
And hear every pitch of spring training baseball on Seattle Sports. Streaming on the Seattle Sports app.
Holy smokes.
So I formed Davis Law Group about 30 years ago, and I would get, the same questions from people about what to do in the case of an accident. Do you need a lawyer? To the point where I decided that I would at least write a book which would answer the common questions that I would receive as a lawyer. Once I wrote my first book, it proved to be hugely popular. I decided to write then a series of books in different accident cases so that we could really teach people about their rights, how to protect them, and how to decide on whether they need a lawyer and what lawyer to hire. I've found in my career that having a client that is educated and knowledgeable about their particular type of case really helps the client and also usually ends up making the case or the claim more successful. To get your free copy of any of my Washington accident books, visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Hello, hello. Welcome to Lee Johnson Auto Family. This is King. This organization's a special one. They call it the Lee Johnson Auto Family, and it's not just a name, it's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family, to work together, to really become close, and they show us in a lot of different ways that they do value us. Is it perfect? No, no place is. But I've been very thankful to be here in the almost 10 years and have every plan to stay here for a lot longer and just watch it continue to grow.
He's fun and professional, which explains why so many people visiting Lee Johnson Kia ask for him by name. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found at G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just a bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
You know, someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. So I actually went home and counted how many connected devices I own. It's more than a dozen. All to keep me connected to the good stuff. Streaming, gaming, all the interneting, you name it. Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. And that's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. Hundreds, for real. And now through March 18th, get Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for a year with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add an unlimited mobile line. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with trade-in. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store and bank account. Taxes and fees extra after promo regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required. Reduce mobile speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds and actual internet speeds vary.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or on third-party delivery platforms.
Bring on the sunshine with a trip to see your Seattle Mariners. Come to sunny and warm Peoria, Arizona for another great year of spring training baseball. There's no better time to wind up at the Peoria Sports Complex where you can see all your favorite Mariners up close. Spring training in Peoria has plenty of sunshine, warm temperatures, and the best seats in baseball. It's family fun for all ages. Book your trip today. Support your Seattle Mariners in Arizona for another exciting spring training season. Get your tickets at PeoriaBaseball.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
NBA All-Star Weekend ended with Matt McClung winning his third straight slam dunk contest and Tyler Hero grabbing his first three-point title. Sweden beat the U.S. last night in the Four Nations tournament, but it doesn't matter. Finals Thursday. Canada, let's get it. And former Mariner, Justin Turner is now a Cub. He signed a 1-year deal.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross. Here we go now.
Curtis Rogers in for Stacy Ross. I'm Michael Bumpus. Now we are joined by ESPN and Kraken Hockey Network host Linda Cohn on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Linda, how you doing today?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, thanks for joining us. I'm feeling real excited about Thursday. I mean, this Four Nations tournament has been something really special. What's your overall view on what's been going on?
I feel it's exceeded expectations. I wasn't sure what to expect from this thing. Wasn't sure if the players would be all in. They're not only all in. I mean, they're bubbling over. I mean, you heard Jack Eichel yesterday in a media gathering or after the loss to Sweden. He said Thursday's game is probably going to be the biggest game he's ever played in, or one of the biggest. He actually said that, and this guy won a Stanley Cup with Vegas. So, I mean, it is unbelievable. So that's how the players are approaching Thursday night, and we as hockey fans, you know, we can't get enough. I'm with you. I'm counting down the hours.
Yeah, Linda, we are as well. I mean, we've been talking about it all day here today. And, I mean, also it couldn't have come at a better time in the sports calendar, too, where you don't have to compete with the NFL for viewers or anything like that. The NHL's really struck gold here. Do you think we ever – I mean, with how great this tournament has been, it feels like this is probably the end of what the traditional all-star game in the NHL is as we know it, right?
I hope so, because I don't think we can go back to that. And by the way, I hope Adam Silver of the NBA is taking notes. I've been saying this the last 24 hours to 36 hours of situation where they need to find a way to pit USA against the world in the NBA. And believe it or not, they will find enough players to fill out a world roster because it is exciting. So, you know what's amazing about hockey players, though? You don't even have to give them a big purse, right? A big, like, grand prize, like some other sports where you have to say, you know, whether it's the PGA or whether it's the NBA, where they're in-season tournament, where, like, you know, you'll make $1 million. You know, hockey players, drop the puck, representing our country, I'm in, no big deal. You know, they don't care if they get paid or not.
Yeah, that's what I love about the culture of hockey. It's like a blue-collar type of vibe, you know, and and you see what they're playing. I say this in basketball, like you can hide on a basketball court, right? You ain't hiding on the ice. You ain't hiding on the ice, man. You got to play. Do you see the tournament expanding at all? Or do you think they'll stick with the four for a while?
You know, going into this, and the reason why I was not all in before they dropped the puck is when they were saying best against best, I'm like, well, where are the Russians?
Right.
Where are the Russians? Okay, I had a problem with that, and then everyone's like, "Oh, that would be 5, and you need the 6." I think you can find a 6th country. You got to figure something out, because I think that was unfortunate. If the Russians were involved in this tournament, who knows who would be in the final? And the Russians would give it. I mean, look at their roster, for goodness sake. But they made the best of it without the Russians. So I think if you're talking about expansion, I would like to find a way to include the Russians. Maybe you go all Scandinavia as one team, right? You know, or whatever, and then throw the Russians in as the 4th type of situation. But, you know, until they make me commissioner, guys, I have no power. But I have to say cheers, like you guys are, to Gary Bettman. The timing was right. And, of course, you know, the other factor is, and it's a big factor, you know, we haven't had NHL players in the last 2 Winter Olympics. So we've been thirsty and hungry for this, you know, as hockey fans. Of course, next year we'll be treated to the NHL players in the Olympics. But I think that was another factor of why this is working so well.
Yeah, and we're all benefiting from it greatly with just the action that we've seen over the last week or so. Linda, Team USA, though, dealing with their fair share of injuries heading into the championship game. Charlie McAvoy looks like he's out. Quinn Hughes got a call. Looks like he's en route to Boston. But how do you make, or what do you make of the United States' chances against Canada dealing with all these nicks and bruises that they've piled up?
Yeah, there's a gut feeling. I hate to say it, but I have a gut feeling that Canada might win again. And I hope I'm wrong, no offense to Canada, because I love watching Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon and Captain Canada, Sidney Crosby. But I just think they learned a lot from that round-robin 3-1 loss. There's not going to be 3 fights in 9 seconds, by the way, either. The good news is the Kachuk brothers will be playing and using their high-level skills, and I don't mean with their mitts. I mean with trying to score and set up players. So they'll be there. But, yeah, the Charlie McAvoy thing is big because you remember what happened in that 3-1 win. I mean, it was a Charlie McAvoy hit on Connor McDavid that seemed to turn the tide in favor of Team USA. And that's how hockey is. A hit can do that. It's a momentum changer. So no Charlie McAvoy, and he got an infection from an upper body injury, and he had to go to the hospital, and I think he's still there. So Quinn Hughes, nice replacement if he indeed, because he's coming back from an injury. He hasn't seen any ice time in this event. Hopefully he's 100%. If not, I think they have another defenseman. I think it's Jake Sanderson, who is ready to go in. So you know what? I think the U.S. can overcome that. I'd like to see an appearance from Austin Matthews. I mean, I know he's been playing, and he's been playing great defensively, but the U.S. needs him to wake up and score. In fact, he hasn't scored in 8 games if you look back on the end of right before the break, as for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that would be something if Austin Matthews, and they need him to wake up and find the net. I think this is going to be like a real thriller, and this could go into overtime, which would absolutely drive us nuts, a 3-on-3 overtime with these two teams.
Oh, that would be amazing. I was actually in Canada when the Canadians beat Sweden in overtime. And,
wow.
I'm an American, and I was hyped for them watching that go down.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Kraken. We were spoiled our first year with this team, and we had high expectations. But if you're a realist, you understand that these things take time, right? Everyone's not the Vegas Knights and having that immediate success. Where would you say the Kraken are in their development or progression to becoming one of the better teams in their division?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, the first year wasn't great. The second year was amazing. I mean, they exceeded expectations, and they did look like they were going to resemble Vegas as they, upset Colorado and were really gelling. And, there were players that were having career years, which helped, like the Jared McCanns of the world and Jordan Eberle and all these kind of things. The bad news is I feel they underachieved this year. I didn't think Jared McCann would not put up 40 goals, take a step back, at least in the goal-scoring department. The Jordan Eberle injury was devastating, losing the captain. He was, at the time of the injury, he was leading the team in scoring, if I recall. It was so long ago. But the good news is he's working his way back. It might be too little too late. And losing Yanni Gourde also was a negative. He had a sports hernia, and he's out. And those were 2 big blows and 2 big voids. There are some very big positives. The development of Shane Wright. I am so happy for Shane Wright. He is one of the real good guys on this team. He has persevered. He has gone down to Coachella. He has done what is asked. A lot of expectations, of course, on him with a high pick. He has developed into some kind of player, and he's only going to get better. That is great to see. So that is like one of my positives. And the other positive is the great Joey Daccord in net. He has kept this team in every single game they have played. You cannot, blame anything on Joey. And plus, he's become the face of this franchise. He is fun, and he brings people into beautiful Climate Pledge Arena. But they're 11 points out of a playoff spot, as you know. There are 4 teams ahead of them. I'm not saying it's impossible, but when you do the math, and I'm not great at math, but if you do the math, I mean, they'd have to go like 20-5 or 25-5 the rest of the way. It'd be just especially because these other teams are ahead of them. You'd have to have all teams basically collapse. And it's just been inconsistent. I mean, that's, if you ask me one word to describe what's been going on for the Kraken, they've just been inconsistent. They win 1, they lose 2. They win 2, they lose 3. This kind of thing. Or, and they just never seem to find their rhythm. I love the coaching staff. I can't put it on Dan Bosma and the entire coaching staff. It's Jessica Campbell has been amazing, great story, great contributions. But it's going to be interesting to see the moves, if any, Ron Francis makes, because there are teams calling, playoff teams that are calling for some of these players on the Kraken. And I mentioned Jared McCann. He would make a nice fit on a playoff contender, adding tremendous depth to a forward group. So I'm not in that room with Ron Francis, but I bet you he's been getting calls on that guy, as well as Brandon Tanev, who's an agitator, his kind of game really works well in the postseason. This is why we all don't make the big bucks, and we are not GMs of an NHL team. Although I'd like the opportunity. I don't know about you guys. But, but it's tough. So they're at a crossroads, the Kraken. They have to decide, reality has set in, and it's really – the odds are not great that they're making the playoffs this year, which I thought they were going to. I thought they were going to be a sleeper team, and I was wrong.
Linda, Kakko was a very shrewd move, I felt like, that the Kraken pulled off, trading for him earlier in the season. He's played pretty well since coming over from New York. What did you know about him prior to the trade to Seattle, and what has it been like with him here with the Kraken over the course of the last couple of months?
Ron Francis, unbelievable move. I mean, he saw something that obviously most of the league did not. And he made this deal, and we know who's got the better end of that deal, with all due respect to Will Borgen with the Rangers. He filled the hole there. But Kakko, in my mind, has exceeded expectations. I've watched a lot of Ranger games, obviously, and he never felt comfortable with the Rangers. He never felt like he had a home on a certain line. I think he always was looking over his shoulder, and he lost confidence. And the player is skilled, as we know. He knows where the net is, and, man, he's a playmaker as well. And that line has been so great, and he's really helped Matty Beniers. And Matty Beniers has been great. I mean, please, Matty Beniers, hopefully he's not going anywhere. He's the cornerstone, okay? He's not leaving the Kraken. But having Kakko with Matty Beniers has helped each of them. So I have to admit, I was stunned because I didn't see this game that Kakko has displayed with the Kraken. I didn't see it, only in flashes. And I mean, don't blink and you'll miss it with the Rangers. So kudos to Ron Francis, an unbelievable move he pulled off.
Hey, Linda, are there any names maybe down in Coachella that you keep hearing about that you feel like could help this team out eventually?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I think there's no one in particular, and I have to be honest. I can't, I'm not just going to throw out any certain name because I'm not really 100% sure. But depending on how the next few weeks go after the team comes back from the break, we're going to see a lot of these players. We know they're skilled players for AHL team like Coachella. We know about the success of Coachella in recent years. And so we know they can contribute, and we know they've come back and forth and up and down, some of these players. So Dan Bosma, who, of course, has experience with these guys because he was down in Coachella a year ago, he'll find a way to incorporate them and get some big boy experiences, which is what, you want to see from these guys moving forward. And I know Ron Francis needs to see this as well.
All right, Linda, you kind of maybe teased to your prediction for Canada-USA, but you want to give us an official prediction as to what you see?
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for the U.S. They, the incredible defensive game and suffocating the star players is the key, but easier said than done. Everybody's got pride. The job by Jacob Slavin, unbelievable defenseman. He is just doing the job. Zach Werenski is amazing. He should win the Norris, but they're going to have to play above and beyond, even better than they did in the 3-1 win, because the Connor McDavids and the Sidney Crosbys and the Nathan McKinnons are going to come out flying. The key to Canada, it can't be just that line, right? It's got to be the Sam Bennetts and the Anthony Cirellis and the Brandon Hagels and all these guys. They got to, for Canada to win, that's how they got to have supplemental scoring. From not just the big boys, because as we saw, the United States took care of the big boys in that first go-round. I will be rooting, like crazy, of course, for Team USA, but I'm a little nervous. I'm more nervous because even though the game's in Boston, but you got to get that crowd engaged. None of this, every game the Team USA has had, they're losing after one period of play. You got to get the crowd engaged early in Boston, and that is an advantage if you have the home ice. But I saw an unbelievable note. Are you ready? And it's not good for the U.S. The U.S. is the home team in this game, right? Well, in all 6 of the previous games, or whatever how many, the home team was 0-6.
It's not good, Linda.
So
it's not good.
If you're into numbers and numerology, which is the same thing, that's scary. But that trend maybe has to end, and hopefully it will end Thursday. But I know this. This will not be a blowout in either way. We are going to be in for a treat. I think it's going to be the highest. I think the rating is going to be great, obviously. And I do think that, I don't bet, but this is a toss-up game. I think it's still going to be one of the most heavily bet hockey games in history.
Oh, I'm
if
nervous.
You're into that.
I'm nervous. Last one before we get you out of here, Linda. How many fights go down on Thursday? Are we done with that, or they're just going to play some hockey?
I'm still recovering. From that. It's like you split the hockey fan base, right? Half of you are like, God, that was great. The other half is like, what the hell? I get it. I'm trying to explain to my non-hockey lover friends that U.S. was sick and tired of being pushed around by Team Canada, haven't beaten them since '96. They've been pushed around like rag dolls, and this was their way, the group chat with the Kachuk brothers and my guy JT Miller, and they all were all in. Poor JT got pounded by Colton Parayko, who's 3 times as big as him. But, they were all in, and it was an amazing display. To answer your question, 0 fights. This is so serious. Now this becomes like an Olympic gold medal game where, of course, if it was the Olympics, you guys know fights are not allowed. These players would have been thrown out and suspended and not played. And that's what I try to explain to people. Hey, it's the NHL. It's an NHL event. They're allowed to fight, and that's why they fought.
I love it. We appreciate your time, Linda. Been admiring your work for a long time now. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Linda.
Hey, anytime, guys. Enjoy the game. Have fun.
Will do. Linda Cohn, man.
A legend.
Legend in the game.
Truly a legend.
Been watching her since I was in middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good find there, Curtis Rogers.
Thank you.
All right, let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory. Going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, Bump. Who will have something to prove next NFL season and why?
Jared Goff, can you run it back? You got a new offensive coordinator. You got John Morton. He was a senior offensive assistant in 2022. He worked with the QBs, spent the last couple of years with Sean Payton in Denver trying to figure some things out. Can Jared Goff run it back? Ben Johnson was his quarterback whisperer. All right, he is now over there with the Chicago Bears, going to get Caleb right. Can Jared Goff keep the thing going? Now, this offensive coordinator has the same, background and philosophy as Ben Johnson, so it's not like a new offense is going to be in there and he's got to learn different terminology or whatnot. But can he just run it back? I'm interested. For the last couple of seasons, Jared Goff has been legit. He's been an all-pro type of guy, and I'm interested. I think the Lions have a lot of talent to work with. We know they're going to be well coached with Dan Campbell. They lost their D coordinator, their offensive coordinator. A lot of change in Detroit. Can Jared Goff keep up?
Second down. Bump, what are 2 names you have seen associated with the Seahawks as they look to fill up their offensive line?
Not going to front. I don't know who these guys are. I just like that they're talking about them. You got Drew Delman. He's the 4th-ranked center, according to PFF. You have Trevor Jenkins, who's the 18th-ranked guard, according to PFF. I don't even care. You can throw some names out there that I don't know, haven't watched film on these dudes. Just the fact that we're talking offensive line is huge. Keep the offensive line talk going. The only problem, if you do want to sign guys like Drew and Jenkins, You got to cut somebody. The Hawks are $13 million over the cap at this point. We know some moves will be made. We've heard from Schneider talk about the offensive line. Kubiak, we interviewed him. He talked about the offensive line. Everybody and their mama knows you got to address this offensive line. So keep throwing random names out there, Sports Illustrated, Pro Football Talk, all y'all, because I'm reading every article when it comes to the Seahawks and the offensive line. Those are two names that I'm hearing. We'll see how things work out.
They're down. Bob, who is a name out on the market that you are most interested in seeing find a new home?
Deebo Samuel. And Deebo is such a unique type of player. He doesn't have a position. He is just a ball carrier. You put him at running back, you put him at receiver. He can probably line up at tight end if you really needed him to. I just want to see what offense is going to take him and use him the way that the 49ers did. Now, he's getting up there in age a bit. He's been in the league, 6 years or something like that. Doesn't have many 1,000-yard seasons. His numbers don't impress you, but when you see the way he looks with the football in his hand as the offensive guy, I start drawing up plays. How do you get Deebo the football? I think that he is a piece that a contending team will grab and get them that much closer. I think there's no one in the league like Deebo Samuel. He's the type of player that can change the game with just one play. He can do nothing the whole game. He makes one big play, which we saw here in Seattle. We had that 60-yard, 70-yard touchdown to go up. He's just a unique type of player. So I'm interested. What offensive coordinator is going to look at Deebo, put him in the offense, and use him the right way? But there are a bunch of free agents out there that I'm going to be looking at. But Deebo, he's the guy.
Fourth down. Bum, how has Mike Macdonald shown an even bigger commitment to the run game?
Mike Macdonald ain't playing, all right? They're adding Rick Dennison as their run game coordinator and senior offensive advisor. They also confirmed a report that Justin Otten will be joining Mike Macdonald's staff as their run game specialist and assistant offensive line coach. You got a run game coordinator. You have a run game specialist. Mike Macdonald said, we're going to run that dang ball. And Kubiak is all for it. I've watched plenty of film on his offense. He does want to run it. He's a wide zone type of guy. We've had this conversation already. There will be some gap scheme. I just like it, man. It's a clear commitment to the run game. And to run the football, everything has to be connected. You got to look at the guys I talked about, Drew and Jenkins over there, the center and the guard. But you got to have guys who are all on the same page, who believe in the philosophy. I like what they're doing. On paper, it looks good so far. Obviously, you still got to execute and get these guys going. But, man, I like it, man. Mike Macdonald ain't playing. All right. What's on tonight?
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
The Hot Stove with host Gary Hill, Aaron Goldsmith, and Shannon Drayer airs tonight from 7 to 9 p.m. on Seattle Sports. I'm going to take a listen. I want to see what these great minds have to say. Are they
they're ball knowers.
Are they already down there in Arizona?
Shannon, I believe, got there today.
Okay.
Gary, I would imagine, is going to be there soon because he's calling these games on radio. And Aaron's a TV guy now. He's Mr. TV.
Mr. TV guy. The smooth sound of Goldsmith. All right, that's what's on tonight. I say it again, the Hot Stove with host Gary Hill, Aaron Goldsmith, and Shannon Drayer airs tonight, 7 to 9 on Seattle Sports. When we come back, it is time for Hype Train. That's next here on the Bump and Stacy Show.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with former Cougs and Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
What's something everyone needs to be bought into when it comes to Kubiak's offense?
You have to be bought in to blocking. You have to be a good blocking receiver if you want to play in this offense and if you want this offense to go. A lot of the formations we're going to see out of this Kubiak offense, the receivers are going to be uptight. They're going to bunch them up on a 2x2 stack, maybe in a bunch formation, and try to set the edge with those receivers.
For Down Territory, every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
Two explosive bands. One massive night of alternative rock. Lit. Fuel. The Ignited We Stand Tour hits Muckleshoot Event Center Wednesday, February 19th. Get your tickets now at muckleshootcasino.com. Lit and Fuel. Light up the stage. February 19th. Only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 206-529-1111 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck and outdoor living, a television and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request that complimentary design and estimate consultation today at 206-992-0364, 206-992-0364, or project ideas, explore photos at PCFgroup.com, PCFgroup.com.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found at G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, Buc-ee's has you covered with available financing. For oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance, it's Buc-ee's Complete Auto. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
Hey, Bill! Got a leak? Need heat? Call Southwest today.
Southwest Plumbing, the one to call.
I'm attorney Rob Iddens, proud Marine Corps veteran and owner of Warrior Injury Law. We help all types of injury victims like Sean, who was rear-ended in a car accident.
They're just easy to work with. They're fast. I like the fact that he had military service. I can see a lot of Marine in Rob. He's very in charge, really gets things done. But I didn't have to do anything. He offered me a settlement, had a number in my head, was nearly double that. I would refer absolutely anybody to Rob.
If you've been injured, call us at 253-WARRIOR. Warrior Injury Law. Battle tested. Eddie's!
Are you constantly dealing with a runny nose, allergies, congestion, sinusitis, or postnasal drip? Hey, it's Dr. Ryan Stern of the Stern Sinus Center. Rhine Air is a simple, non-invasive procedure that significantly reduces your postnasal drip and stuffiness. We're proud this year the Stern Sinus Center was just named a nationwide center of excellence. We're also excited to welcome another allergy surgeon and ear surgeon to our practice. Schedule your appointment in Auburn or Federal Way or go to sternsinus.com.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry.
Check out video only.
If you're looking for a new Mazda, go see our friends at Mazda of Everett. With over 790 new Mazdas in stock at 11409 Highway 99 in Everett, they have something for every budget and credit type. Save up to $3,970 on new Mazda CX-5s. Come meet the team and see why they've been Washington's largest Mazda dealer since 2015. Exceptional service and always their lowest prices. Visit in-store or online at MazdaofEverett.com today. MSRP for stock number 26315 is $30,585. This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
30 more minutes, and you guys are done with us. But until then, deal with it. I'm Michael Bumpus with Curtis Rogers. We got the nephew Brady Bones on the ones and twos right now. It is time for Hype Train. Let's get it. All right, I'll do my best, Stacy. Hype Train, this is how this works, okay? I'm going to throw a statement out there, and then if you like what I'm saying, you're going to hop on the train. But if you don't like what I'm saying, you're not going to get on the train. I've worked with Stacy for 3 years now, and she explains it every single day. She does. What up, Stacy? I know you're not listening. Anyway, all right, first one, Curtis. The U.S. beats Canada and wins the Four Nations face-off.
Well, I mean, God, Linda sounded a little tepid about U.S. chances on Thursday night, especially dealing with all the injuries that they've got going on. But I think ultimately the Americans pull it off, and they are your champions. Boarding that train, they've looked like the best team to me throughout this tournament, and I think that continues on Thursday night. So that's what we're doing. We're boarding that train.
I didn't realize Canada was smacking us like that, though.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't. I knew, it's their game. They're a hockey nation.
I saw a stat after Saturday. That was Sidney Crosby's first international loss in like 26 games.
That's crazy.
Counting Olympics, World Cup of Hockey. Like, he has not lost an international game in forever.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Sidney Crosby, 37. Sid the kid. All right, you know what, man? You know what I'm going to do? This is old school Mighty Ducks, Team USA. I'm the little black homie
D2.
with the knuckle puck.
Yeah, Russ Tyler.
Yeah.
Kenan Thompson's character.
There we go. Yeah. That's what, you know what it is. I'm on this train, man. Like I'm going to go against the country.
Right.
Brady, you better not go against the country.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys said it all earlier in the show. Once you put on those USA jerseys, you're uniting the entire nation.
That's
So
right.
there's no way I'm going to vote for Canada. USA all the way, baby.
USA all the way. Canadians, what up, though? Text in if you're a Canadian. Just say hello, because I ain't rocking with you on Thursday. Okay. Next
Every
up.
other day we're fine.
Yeah, we're good. We're good every other day. Just when we compete, it's different. Canada's nice. I said I was just out there last week, Vancouver. It was a nice little area. It was a good situation. Thanks for hosting, Canada. All right, next up, Logan Gilbert should be the opening day starter.
We heard from Eno Sarris, who said he thinks Logan Gilbert should be the opening day starter. We heard last week from Ryan Rowland-Smith, who agrees. They're ball knowers. We're not maybe to the level that they are, but you know what? I'm disagreeing with them. I think it's Luis Castillo who should be the Mariners' opening day starter. I'm not boarding this train. You cannot make me, even though it's not a bad train to board. It's like, oh, they got a sleeper car?
Yeah.
Oh, what kind of snacks they got on that train?
Right.
Oh. I mean, I'm fine with the train that I've got. I'm going to the destination where Luis Castillo's taking me, but yeah, that Logan Gilbert train looking nice, but I'm going to stay over here.
Yeah, it pulled up. You looked inside. It's nice in here. It's nice.
Like Polar Express.
But I'm not jumping on that either, man. I'm not mad if Logan is the opening day starter. I think he deserves it. I also think Luis Castillo deserves it, man. Put the 32-year-old on the mound, give him the rock, and let him set the tone. I'm going with the old guy. Bones, we know where you're going.
I mean, this train's just so nice and empty. All the refreshments are still there. You guys didn't eat any of them. Of course I'm getting on this train. Logan Gilbert, Walter is going to be the opening day starter. He's got to set the tone right.
All right, Bones, if you're right, you owe us donuts.
Yeah.
If I'm right,
if you're right, you owe us donuts. Because
that's right.
We're your uncles. You don't go against your uncles.
You owe us donuts.
You
So
owe
if
us
I go
donuts.
against the uncles and win, I owe you.
Yes. Respect your elders.
Yeah.
All right,
and if we're right, you still owe us donuts.
Either way, get us some dang donuts, man.
All right, so whenever I manage to work your show next again.
Yeah. That's right.
There you go. Freedom Donuts,
I'm
man.
glad you've understand. You're understanding.
Understand how this goes. Next up. All right, the Bengals are able to sign Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Trey Hendrickson.
Boy, that's going to be a very hefty price tag. Jamar Chase is looking for Justin Jefferson money, deservedly so.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably they're 1A and 1B in terms of best receivers in the NFL. T. Higgins probably looking for about $30 million. Best pass rushing, highest paid pass rushers. What you're looking at? What, like Nick Bosa money?
Yeah,
which is around I think $30 million or so. That's about close to $100 million price tag for all three of those guys. But if the Bengals want to win and win at a high level, you need all three of those guys. I think the need has outweighed the cost of it. They're going to do it, even though it goes against everything that organization stands for. Sorry, Justin Barnes, who is listening right now. But, yeah, I think they're able to do it. So I'm boarding this train. I think for the first time ever, they realize that they have something good here.
Yeah.
And they keep it going.
Justin Barnes. He was on top of the world a couple years ago.
He was.
On top of the world.
Back when everybody was making that rookie wage scale money.
It gets a little different. You have success. Burrow getting about 50 of them things. Jamar Chase going to get about 30, 35 of them things. You got Henderson who's going to get 30 of them things. T. Higgins is going to get franchise tag. This is where you make or break your franchise. You have to get this right and support these players. I think you get it done. They have to get it done. You have no other option. You don't do this to your fan base. You've been good for the last few years. This year was a bit different because that defense was horrible. But yeah, support your quarterback. Hendrickson's one of the best D linemen in the game. They get it done. I'm on this one. Brady Bones, what do you say?
I'm going to go against you guys on this one. Not going to get donuts if I am right. I'll say that right now. But I just don't see the Bengals shelling out all that money to get all three of the guys back. I see one of the guys going elsewhere. I see the market feeding them better than the Bengals could just outright.
Bring those donuts.
I like maple bars.
Next up. All right, the Seahawks will reach an extension with DK Metcalf before the start of the 2025 season.
I think they're open to it, and I think DK probably realizes he got a good thing here in Seattle. The only way I see this going sideways is if feelings get hurt in this contract negotiation where DK throws a number out, maybe to the level of, maybe not quite to the level of Justin Jefferson, but maybe a smidge below that, and the Seahawks just kind of scoffing at it and being like, you think you're worth $33 million?
Right.
I'd say $30 million is the highest I would go with DK. Anything above that, be really uncomfortable with. So I do think they get an extension done with DK before the start of 2025. I'm boarding that train, but hopefully cooler heads prevail in all this.
You know, we talked about the wideout market earlier in the show, and there are going to be some guys out there that the Seahawks can look at, but a number one receiver is going to require about $30 million. And I think you have that in DK Metcalf. You can look at what JSN has been doing and say, but he's the number one. Okay, so be it. You got a 1-2 combo. I think that DK, whether you like it or not, is going to get about $30 million. That's what he's going for. That's what he's worth. So let's deal with it. And I think the Seahawks and Kubiak realize they need DK on this roster. It is going to get done. I'm on that train. Bones.
I mean, I see no way that you can effectively get rid of DK Metcalf and be okay at this point. You need DK Metcalf in that locker room. You got him with JSN. That dynamic duo right there, especially if Tyler Lockett's going to be gone, you need to keep a good core of your receivers. I like Jake Bobo. Do I think he's the number one, number two guy right now? No, I think DK should stay. We should pay him that $30 million and keep the Seahawks fans happy. I'm hopping on.
All right, last one. The NBA will take a page from the NHL and never play another All-Star game again. That sounds dark.
I'm not boarding because I think there's just too much money at stake in NBA All-Star Weekend. They've got so many sponsors. Every event is sponsored. Every hotel in those cities is booked. The arenas are sold out, even though the on-court product has been severely lacking over the last probably 4 to 5 years, to the point where it was it was pretty critical on Sunday. Just like, can the NBA move forward like this? I think they go back to the drawing board, but I think the All-Star game remains the same just because of the history with it in the league. I don't think they nix the event altogether. So I'm not boarding this train.
Get rid of the dang game. Make it USA versus the world. When I see USA versus the world, it just feels arrogant. Like, yeah, we're the best. Just put us against anybody. I wouldn't mind that format, but there will always be some type of All-Star game. I could see them switching it up, though. Bones, quick, what you got?
I'm fine whether you keep an All-Star game or transition it to something else like they've done over the last couple of years, as long as it's not the monstrosity that we saw on TV this past weekend. I can't deal with a 4-team tournament where guys just aren't playing any form of real basketball.
All right, you heard it. Monstrosity. All right, coming up next, we have What I Need to Know. Get your questions in. Text in at 866-979-3776. That's coming up next.
Seattle sports is heading to Arizona for spring training baseball.
Knowing every night when you go out there that you're going to get a great pitching outing is tremendous.
Go behind the scenes with Brock and Salk as the Seattle Mariners get ready for the 2025 season. All next week from 6 to 10.
Back she goes, going and going. Goodbye, baseball. He did it. Julio Rodriguez.
And hear every pitch of spring training baseball on Seattle Sports. Streaming on the Seattle Sports app.
Holy smokes.
Someone asked me the other day, do you know how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. So I actually went home and counted how many connected devices I own. It's more than a dozen. All to keep me connected to the good stuff. Streaming, gaming, all the interneting, you name it. Xfinity knows that the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. And that's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. Hundreds, for real. And now through March 18th, get Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for a year with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add an unlimited mobile line. And ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with trade-in. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to switch today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store and bank account. Taxes and fees extra after promo regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced mobile speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Data thresholds and actual internet speeds vary.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Superior Linen Service. 98 years providing logoed apparel, uniforms, floor mats, linens, and more. Give us a call. We answer the phone. Superior Linen Service. Visit suplinen.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Stream every Seattle sports show with the Seattle Sports app. Brought to you by Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center Proton Therapy. Get new videos, podcasts, and articles on the Seahawks and Mariners from your favorite Seattle sports personalities daily.
At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, we offer premium windows that are 25% more energy efficient, reduce noise by 50%, and come with clean glass technology. And Leak Armor Installation gives you a lifetime warranty to protect your home. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com.
Through February, for each window or door you buy, you get one at 50% off. Plus, make no payments for 18 months OAC. For details, visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com today, a name you can trust.
Washington's biggest night out for sports is the annual Sports Star of the Year Awards. Join the Seattle Sports Commission for the 90th anniversary of Sports Star and experience red carpet interviews on Media Row, a champions gallery of sports memorabilia, and a live awards show created for the sports community by the sports community. Don't miss your chance to be among the stars on February 27th at the 90th annual Sports Star of the Year Awards, presented by Microsoft. Get your tickets now at seattlesports.org.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
You're free now. Free to stream beyond your wildest dreams.
Rom-coms, slasher-coms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chonky chonkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo-Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
Limited availability, service in select locations only.
I've always said, the car sales in the 1980s and 1990s, earned the rep that we have today. The concerns that consumers have because of what has happened in our industry in the past, they're warranted. It's our job to show them that that's not how business is done anymore, right? It's very different business. It's much more transparent. There's much more information that's available to people. And we're much more customer focused than I think the car industry was, 20, 30 years ago. I'm more focused on providing good customer service and relationships because I think if you take care of people, money will always come. So I think just the philosophy and the focus for us has changed, where I was constantly chasing a paycheck and now I'm just constantly trying to take care of customers and employees because I know if I do that, then my paycheck will take care of itself.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Curtis Rogers in for Stacy Ross. This is the Bumpin' Stacy Show. Last segment of the day. What I need to know. Get your questions in. Text 866-979-3776. First one, what I need to know. Bump, how much PTO do you really have? Mind your business, dog. Mind
You were out for 3 days last week?
I was out Wednesday, Thursday. Well, I wasn't supposed to be out Friday, but the Canadians gave me something.
Came down with something.
And tomorrow's my last day this week, so leave me alone. All right? I'm going to Vegas for a golf trip. All right? Stop watching my pockets.
You didn't use any PTO during football season.
I don't.
So it's like
I don't use any during football season, so I got to get it in now.
Exactly.
Come on, let me live.
Mind your business.
Mind your business. What I need to know, hey, 80s babies, what's something that irritates you about your own generation to this day? You're not 80s
I'm
baby.
a 90s baby, yeah.
Yeah.
Something that irritates me about my own generation. How none of us can afford to buy a house. That's not necessarily our fault, but something that irritates me about my own generation to this day. I feel like millennials are a little, they've kind of been wishy-washy. Like that's always been our that's like a stereotype about us is that they never commit to anything. But I don't know. I feel like you and I when we're committed, we're in it.
We in there.
Yeah.
I would say I think 80s babies are getting to that age where everything we grew up with is better to us.
Uh-huh.
We had it better, and I really believe we had it better. But I can see how that can irritate some people. It doesn't irritate me, but I can see it now.
One thing that does irritate me about my own generation is that we need to stop trying to be the trendsetters. We need to stop trying to be the cool ones because we're not anymore.
It's a wrap.
Exactly.
It's a wrap.
We're all nearing our mid-30s to late 30s, early 40s. Like, we don't need to continue to try to be the cool kids out there. We're not cool anymore.
Nah.
We're washed.
Washed.
Like fresh linens. We're washed.
You saying my uncles are washed?
Washed.
Look, Brady, we can say it. You can't.
Yeah, watch your mouth.
My bad.
What I need to know, does MLB have the best all-star game? They might have one of the better weekends for sure. That home run derby, there's nothing like the home run derby. Like, that might be the most exciting thing in all sports when it comes to just the all-star weekend.
The thing that baseball has going for itself is that their all-star weekend is very simple.
Yeah.
One event, one game.
Yep.
If you count the Futures game, maybe that's 2 events, but I don't think anybody takes the Futures game very seriously. But people tune in for the home run derby, and people tune in for the game. They've mastered the simplicity of it, and like you said earlier, you can hide on a basketball court during an all-star game. You can't hide on a hockey rink.
Nope.
And you really can't hide in a baseball game either. If you're a pitcher and you're throwing it 75, 80 miles an hour, that's going to stand out in a baseball game. People are going to know you are sandbagging. So you got to throw mid-90s to 100 miles an hour.
I like the simplicity, but I would also like some challenges. What if you had targets for the pitchers to hit on the mound? What if you had shortstops, fielding the ball, throwing it to first, trying to hit a target? Maybe they should expand it a little bit.
They
I like
used
the
to have
simplicity.
stuff like that.
Did they?
Yeah, they used to have catchers throwing down to second base with a target, same with third base with a target there. I mean, I think it just became unpopular and people were more focused on the condensed home run derby and the actual game.
All right. Well, don't bring it back then. You guys got it. All right. What I need to know, what is the best station at a gourmet breakfast buffet?
Oh, so like a continental breakfast? The waffle maker's always a hit.
It just takes too long. Because it's usually a bunch of people trying to get in and get out.
Right.
And I don't like standing there with a bunch of strangers waiting for my waffle.
Yes. But it's really easy. I'll tell you the worst station at a gourmet breakfast buffet, the eggs, because they're always running.
Yeah.
It's just wet eggs.
They're never on point.
No one wants that.
Yeah, they're never on point.
Well, and it's eggs from like a bag. It's not actual. They're not cracking yolks or anything and stirring it up. No, they've got a bag that they just heat up. And it's not good.
Nah, not good at all. I usually just get cereal or yogurt and some fruit.
Or if they have like muffins or a Danish or something. Yeah.
And then call it good. I don't rock with that stuff. All right.
You're probably eating more continental breakfasts than I am because you're traveling so much.
Yeah, I'm efficient. I'm in and out.
Is that something that you like when your kids are playing a tournament out of town? Is that like one of the prerequisites that a hotel has to have?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Continental. I'll be the first one there. Opens at 7. I'm there at 6:55.
My wife and I, we road tripped 3 summers ago, and we stopped at this hotel in Klamath Falls, Oregon, and they advertised as though they had free breakfast. So I was like, oh, cool. That's really cool. We show up in the lobby. All they had. It was like a punch bowl full of honey buns.
That's it?
It's it. And so because of that, it was like, and no one was near us, so we took like 5 each. It's like, all right, if you're gonna go cheap on the breakfast, then we're gonna take as much as we want.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that. Lying, false advertisement. What I need to know: what is the most and least favorite part of your job and why? My favorite part is just
getting to talk sports.
Talking ball.
Yeah.
I love talking ball. My least is having to watch games late and be up early.
Our job is around the clock.
Yeah,
which
it never stops.
Even though we're on the air from 10 to 2, like, we have to always be paying attention to what's going on. We can't really unplug for the rest of the day. Really, the only time I am unplugged is when my head hits the pillow.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I've got my phone on me. I've usually got a game on either a tablet or a TV or whatnot, but you don't really get an opportunity to unplug.
No days off. My daughter, do you have to watch this? Yes,
actually.
I do, baby girl. I do. Let me go. Dad Pod, what I need to know, do you find yourself eating leftovers just because you don't want them to go to waste, or am I just cheap? Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
We're not wasting food.
Right.
Moms tell me all the time, there's starving kids across the world who would die for that chicken you left there. And I'm like, all right, Mom, I'll eat it. But as a grown man, too, leftovers, I bring leftovers for lunch almost every day.
Yeah, you and I both are kings of the leftovers. I brought leftover noodles today.
There we go, man.
I don't want those going to waste. I made those.
You made those. Paid for them. Going to waste.
Exactly.
All right, that was the Dad Podcast with our nephew, Brady Bones. It's been real. If you guys want more, go to Seattle Sports, download the app, give us stars. 5 would be good. Don't go cheap. Only 5. And we'll holler at you guys tomorrow. Coming up next, you got Wyman above, but you got Brian Walsh is filling in for Wyman. Should be a good one. All right, holler at you guys tomorrow.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with former Cougs and Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
What's something everyone needs to be bought into when it comes to Kubiak's offense?
You have to be bought in to blocking. You have to be a good blocking receiver if you want to play in this offense and if you want this offense to go. A lot of the formations we're going to see out of this Kubiak offense, the receivers are going to be uptight. They're going to bunch them up in a 2x2 stack, maybe in a bunch formation, and try to set the edge with those receivers.
For Down Territory, every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my superhydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com. Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and, of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I would rather get my teeth drilled than go to a car dealership. However, I recently had a breakdown with my vehicle, and I knew that I had to get a new one. I knew where to go. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. I'd heard amazing things. I knew the GM, Mark, so I ended up going out there. Mark, you're with me right now, and I got to be honest, even knowing you, I was nervous. Just being at a car dealership brings pressure, but you guys really focus on customer experience.
Well, there are some dealerships where you go in and you feel like you're getting jumped on. We don't do that, okay? There's absolutely no pressure at our dealership, period. And we backed it up with a 5-day or 500-mile, 100%, no questions asked, money-back guarantee. We only want to sell you a car if you want to buy one. So if you want a low-pressure experience, check out our reviews. We have thousands of 5-star reviews. You can buy with confidence. Wayscar Ford's been family-owned and operated in downtown Auburn for over 103 years. You don't stay in business that long by not taking care of people.
See it for yourself at Wayscar Ford in Auburn. That's wayscarford.com.
Are you looking at diversification and stability with your investment portfolio, especially with the volatility right now in the stock market? Hi, I'm Scott Riereka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years. We've had 0 investor losses and have averaged double-digit returns since inception. Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given market conditions. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Legacy's Northwest Fund also accepts IRA accounts as well. Find out why over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Get in touch with us today. Legacy's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited opening for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Stream every Seattle sports show with the Seattle Sports app. Brought to you by Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center. Get new videos, podcasts,